Chapter 33. Chapter 33. Unbelievable Blood Meridian Ability. Blood meridians were categorized into 9 levels, and each level had its own number of meridian focal points. A first-level blood meridian would have a single meridian focal points, while a second-level blood meridian would have 2. The amount would increase based on the level. However, there was not even a single meridian focal point on Lu Ming's blood meridian. Could it be a 0-level blood meridian? Nobody had ever heard of such a thing before. Furthermore, Lu Ming had tested it before. His blood meridian's absorption rate of the spirit energy around him was comparable to that of a 4th-level blood meridian. I also shaved off half of the sword chi when my blood meridian erupted. Could my blood meridian have a special skill? Lu Ming pondered as his eyes flashed with excitement. This skill was truly terrifying if it could really block half of someone's attack. Lu Ming could not wait to test it out. At that moment, he exited the Supreme Shrine and entered the woods in search of demonic beasts. It was not long before he found one. The Flame Wolf was a demonic beast on 7th grade 1st level. With the ability to spit fireballs, it boasted great strength. Roar! The Flame Wolf opened its gaping mouth and roared when it noticed Lu Ming. A fireball gathered and flew towards Lu Ming. It's time to test the power of my blood meridian when it erupts. At the thought of that, a fountain of power surged from Lu Ming's spine into his body. His body started to shine a brilliant dark hue that emanated a devouring aura. Lu Ming did not dodge but allowed the fireball to land on him instead. In that instant, he could clearly feel the power of the fireball being continuously consumed by the dark shine of his body until only half of its power remained. He took a step back and avoided the remaining half of the fireball. So apparently the attack wasn't blocked but rather it was devoured. Half of its power was devoured. Shock flashed across Lu Ming's eyes. At that instant, the power from the blood meridian within Lu Ming's body disappeared without a trace. For real. It's only been a single breath. It deactivated too quickly. He was speechless. It was then that the Flame Wolf shot another ball of flame out. However, Lu Ming was unable to make his blood meridian erupt another time despite trying to do so. He understood that it was because the strength of his blood meridian was depleted and needed time to slowly recover. However, wasn't the duration too short? He was aware that the average warrior realm martial artist could hold an erupted blood meridian for approximately 1 minute. The strength of the blood meridian would be depleted after approximately a minute and required time to recover. The power of the blood meridian would increase in Master Realm, allowing it to erupt for approximately 2 minutes. The duration would increase with the growth of cultivation from there on. However, Lu Ming could only erupt his blood meridian for the span of a single breath. An average breath would only take 2 seconds. That was a whopping 30-fold difference compared to others. It seemed that although the ability to block half of an attack's power was seemingly overpowered, it could only be used at a crucial moment. Also, how strong of an attack would it be able to withstand? Everything had its limits, and Lu Ming did not believe that his blood meridian would be able to withstand an attack from someone several leagues above him. He needed to find out about all this. No matter what the outcome was, Lu Ming was still satisfied. This skill would be able to turn the tables in a crucial moment, so it could definitely be used as a trump card. Bam! He took a step with the dragon serpent steps and evaded the Flame Wolf's attack before retaliating with one attack himself. Poof! A blade pierced the Flame Wolf's heart, and it thrashed around as it took its last breath. I wonder how long it'll take before my blood meridian fully recovers. His black worm-shaped blood meridian manifested as he thought about it, but Lu Ming wanted to observe a little while longer. It was at that moment that something peculiar happened. The black worm-shaped blood meridian suddenly widened its mouth towards the Flame Wolf's corpse and created a strong suction. 9 droplets of blood essence darted out from the Flame Wolf's wound and were swallowed by the worm-shaped blood meridian in one go. At the very next moment, an immense power surged from Lu Ming's spine. The power melded together with Lu Ming's essential chi, causing his cultivation to spike erratically. He instantly ascended from beginner of 6th grade warrior realm to peak beginner of 6th grade warrior realm. 1 buzz. A pale red meridian focal point then appeared on the black worm-shaped blood meridian. It shone ever so brilliantly in Lu Ming's eyes. Lu Ming was stunned. He took a moment before he reacted. My blood meridian can devour the blood essence of demonic beasts and convert it into essential qi? And on top of that, my blood meridian can increase in levels? Lu Ming was murmuring to himself as his eyes shone brilliantly. His heart was wild with joy. It was already unbelievable that blood essence could be devoured and converted into essential qi. However, level advancement was unheard of. Everyone knew that a blood meridian's level was fixed. Bar the exceptions of peculiar cases, a blood meridian was normally unable to advance levels. However, his blood meridian had broken all the rules by being able to advance levels. Lu Ming could distinctly sense that the blood essence he consumed from the flame wolf just now was divided into two. One half was converted into essential qi, while the other half was absorbed by his blood meridian. It was because of that caused an improvement in both essential qi and blood meridian. If he continued on with devouring blood essence from demonic beasts, would the level of his blood meridian continuously advance? Advancement to the 5th level, the 6th level, the 8th level and 9th level, or even surpassing that. It was not impossible. Lu Yao's 5th level blood meridian was nothing. Ha ha ha. Lu Ming broke into a loud guffaw. Time to hunt some demonic beasts. Lu Ming could not wait to hunt for some demonic beasts and begin testing. It was not long before Lu Ming found another demonic beast in the 8th grade 1st level. Furthermore, there was a metal tablet worth 2 points on the demonic beast. Lu Ming defeated the beast and kept the metal tablet. He circulated his blood meridian and once again extracted 9 droplets of blood essence from the demonic beast. Blood essence was the soul's accumulation of a living being, and contained a massive amount of energy. Legends told that no matter human or beast, there were only 9 drops of blood essence in a single body. The blood essence was once again divided into 2 after it being consumed by the dark worm-shaped blood meridian. One half was converted to Lu Ming's essential qi. In that instant, Lu Ming made a breakthrough in his cultivation and reached mid-6th grade warrior realm. 1. As for the blood-red meridian focal points on the blood meridian, although it did not level up, its color was a shade deeper. Surely enough, the blood essence of a demonic beast on the 8th grade 1st level had a stronger effect than that of a demonic beast on the 7th grade. Let's call you the spirit-devouring worm. I'm coming after you, Duanmu family. Time to continue. Lu Ming dubbed the dark worm-shaped blood meridian the spirit-devouring worm. Then he proceeded to hunt down demonic beasts within the Midnight Hills in a frenzy and absorb their blood essence. His cultivation increased at an insane pace. In just over one day, his cultivation ascended to the 7th grade warrior realm, successfully breaking through to the peak top of 8th grade warrior realm after 3 days. Surely enough, the level of his blood meridian had increased during that moment. Another meridian focal point appeared as it turned into a 2nd level blood meridian. After relentlessly hunting demonic beasts for 3 days, Lu Ming finally figured out a part of the countless mysteries his blood meridians held. The first thing was that there was a cap for the blood meridian skill to absorb half the power of an attack. He discovered that it only worked against demonic beasts that were 5 grades above him, at most. It was ineffective against anything more than 5 grades. For example, if Lu Ming was in 1st grade warrior realm, it would only work against someone below the 6th grade warrior realm. It would be rendered completely useless if he met someone on the 7th grade warrior realm or above. The eruption of the blood meridian initially only lasted for the span of a single breath. It would take 3 hours after erupting before it could be used again. However, there was a change after the blood meridian advanced by a level. For every level that the blood meridian advanced, the duration of its eruption would increase by another breath span. The duration of Lu Ming's blood meridian eruption had increased to 3 breath spans when his blood meridian advanced to the 2nd level. Similarly, the time that was required for the strength of his blood meridian to recover was reduced slightly. All this motivated Lu Ming even more. Chapter 34. Chapter 34. Successive Breakthroughs and a Comeback. While Lu Ming was traversing through the woods, there was a sudden change in his expression as he murmured, "It's like we're 2 bad pennies, but you've come at the right time." Swoosh! Swoosh! Oh! At that moment, several sounds pierced the silence around Lu Ming as figures appeared from the sides, his front, back and left flank. Wei Ziyou and Wei Ziming stood in front of Lu Ming, while there were 4 members of the Duanmu family behind him. Apart from the young martial artist of Master Realm, there were another 3 youths. To his left, there was a youth donned in a brocade garb who was emanating a strong aura. He was a Master Realm expert. The moment they spotted Lu Ming, the people from these 3 sides formed a circle with him in the middle. 3 of them were in 1st grade Master Realm while the other 3 were on the 9th grade Warrior Realm. Wei Ziming could be dismissed as a non-factor. Let's see where you can run to now, Lu Ming, Wei Ziming said as he glared at Lu Ming. Lu Ming casually glanced at Wei Ziming. You piece of trash, have a duel with me if you've got what it takes. He laughed. You're a dead man walking, Lu Ming. I shan't bother to have a dispute with a dead man. Wei Ziming snarled. Lu Ming, you dare to kill a disciple of my family, the Duanmu family. You're courting death. The young Master Realm martial artist from the Duanmu family insulted. I'm courting death? Your family wanted me dead first. The way you put it, I guess I can only die without retaliating, huh? Lu Ming said. That's right. My Duanmu family wants you dead. So there's nothing you can do except to accept your fate. How could a lowly scum like you compare to the lives of the Duanmu family's disciples? The Duanmu family's youth scoffed. He was confident, arrogant, and unreasonable. Lu Ming smiled. He did not bother to squabble with someone like him. And what about you? I don't think I know you. Are you someone from the Duanmu family as well? He said as he shifted his gaze towards the youth in the brocade garb. Haha, Lu Ming, since you're about to meet your end, I'll let you in on this. Senior brother Ningfeng sent me. You're as bold as brass to offend senior brother Ningfeng when you've just joined. Are you tired of living? The youth in the brocade garb smiled. Alright, stop spouting nonsense with him. Let's kill him now. I don't have the time to squabble with him. He was Duanmu Fei. As he finished speaking in an icy tone, he charged towards Lu Ming in a frenzy. A green sword chi pierced through the air with a sharp whistle. Wei Ziyou and the youth in the brocade garb did not make a move, as they thought that one person was enough to deal with Lu Ming. Lu Ming stomped his feet on the group as Duanmu Fei's sword chi was about to land on him. He used the dragon serpent steps and dodged the sword chi before darting away like a bolt of lightning. His target was the youth of the Duanmu family who was in 9th grade Warrior Realm. Clang! His blade whistled as a beam of sword chi was sent flying. With Lu Ming's cultivation at top 8th grade Warrior Realm, the youth from the Duanmu family was unable to avoid Lu Ming's sword chi even if he was on full alert. Poof! The blade directly pierced the youth's heart. It was a kill in a single blow. Devour! With a single thought from Lu Ming's mind, a strong pull gravitated from his palms, pulling out 9 droplets of blood essence from his opponent's wound. It traveled across Lu Ming's arm and was devoured by the spirit-devouring worm. This was the method of using the spirit-devouring worm that Lu Ming had figured out over these few days. He could apply the devouring aura on his hands and silently absorb the blood essence of others. Ah! Lu Ming, you're looking for death. Duanmu Fei bellowed furiously as he charged towards Lu Ming. An icy smile formed on Lu Ming's lips. He did not go head-on against Duanmu Fei, and he used the dragon serpent steps to charge towards another youth who was in 9th grade Warrior Realm. With the spirit-devouring worm continuously refining the blood essence at the same time, a surge of energy poured into Lu Ming's body. The energy contained within the blood essence of someone in 9th grade Warrior Realm was immense, allowing Lu Ming to increase his cultivation at a mind-boggling speed. His cultivation was already at top 8th grade Warrior Realm, but it constantly closed the distance to 9th grade Warrior Realm. Swoosh! Although the youth from the Duanmu family tried his best to avoid it, his speed was incomparable to Lu Ming's. He was instantly killed with a flash of the blade. Lu Ming absorbed his blood essence at the same time. Crash! With the surging essential chi from the blood essence of the 2 9th grade Warrior Realm experts, Lu Ming finally broke free from his shackles and made another breakthrough. His cultivation reached the 9th grade Warrior Realm instantly. Damn it! What are you two waiting for? Start making a move together and destroy Lu Ming. Duanmu Fei howled. Within these few days, a total of 3 people on the 9th grade Warrior Realm from the Duanmu family had fallen to the hands of Lu Ming. Youngsters who were in the 9th grade warrior realm below the age of 18 were considered elites, even in the Duanmu family. After the three of them died in one go, he had no idea how to explain it to the seniors of the Duanmu family when he returned. That was why he loathed Lu Ming from the bottom of his heart. Kill him. End him. Wei Zio and the youth in brocade screamed as they charged towards Lu Ming. Since Lu Ming killed 2 experts on the 9th grade warrior realm in one go, his prowess had exceeded their expectations. Their dignity was the last thing on their minds as they formed an alliance. Duanmu Fei and Wei Zio sent a flash of sword chi flying while youth in the brocade garb unleashed a golden palm. A sharp whistling sound could be heard as they teamed up and charged towards Lu Ming. Haha, a brilliant move. Let's see how strong Master Realm is. Lu Ming chuckled. His confidence skyrocketed as his cultivation broke through to the 9th grade warrior realm. Bam! Lu Ming darted towards Duanmu Fei with a twist of his body without caring about the attacks from Wei Zio and the youth in the brocade garb coming from behind him. Die! The trio's eyes flashed with murderous intent. Blood meridian eruption. At that moment, Lu Ming's blood meridian erupted as a layer of dark light glistened brilliantly. It was also the same moment that the attacks from Wei Zio and the others landed on Lu Ming's body. However, they were bewildered when they did not see Lu Ming die. His body merely swayed for a moment, but the sword in his hand did not stop. It darted out like a surge of lightning and pierced through Duanmu Fei's heart. Not even in his wildest dreams did Duanmu Fei expect Lu Ming to survive attacks from 3 people, and even manage to make a counterattack. He was unable to dodge in time even if he wanted to. Lu Ming pierced his heart in a poof. His sight turned black as he fell heavily onto the floor. Duanmu Fei died. 1. There's still 2 breaths left. Lu Ming's mind was spinning as he sliced his sword towards the youth in the brocade garb. Ah! Die! The youth in the brocade garb almost lost his nerves when he witnessed Duanmu Fei's death. He then unleashed 2 consecutive strikes from his palm. However, Lu Ming recklessly allowed the strikes to land on his body. Without even pausing for a moment, the blade in his hand sliced through the throat of the youth in the brocade garb. Blood went spurting everywhere from the clean slice across the youth's throat. His hands grasped at his neck as his eyes were wide with mixed emotions, including dissatisfaction, pleading, and hate. Retreat! Hurry! Wei Zio howled in terror from the side. When Lu Ming successively killed 2 experts in Master Realm, Wei Zio lost his courage and fled in horror. Don't you think it's too late to leave now? An icy smile hung on Lu Ming's face as he pursued Wei Zio with a twist of his body. Chapter 35. Chapter 35. Ascension to 3rd level Blood Meridian. As Lu Ming traversed over 16 meters in a single step using the Dragon Serpent steps, Wei Zio had no chance of escaping. Hardly had over 10 breaths passed before Lu Ming was right behind Wei Zio. Oh, I'm going all out, Wei Zio yelled. His blood meridian erupted as he turned around and charged towards Lu Ming. He understood that begging for his life or even throwing threats was useless. He could tell that Lu Ming's moves were cruel, firm, and concise from the way he made a move just now. Even a talented disciple from the Duanmu family had been killed just like that. He was unbelievably bold and would definitely not fear the Wei family. Clang! Clang! Their blades clashed against each other as they faced each other in a magnificent battle. The eruption of Lu Ming's blood meridian had ended well before that moment. However, with the help of the true war dragon technique and the 4th stage of the lustrous sword art, he towered over Wei Zio. Wei Zio's sword technique was merely an inferior yellow-level sword technique that was in the 4th stage. Their blades clashed as they waged war for over tens of moves. Lu Ming's sword technique grew in speed until he finally pierced Wei Zio's heart with a stab. Wei Zio lost in a head-on battle and losing spelled his death. 1. Lu Ming then looked somewhere else with a sneer and went in pursuit of that direction. Fleeing for his life, Wei Ziming wanted nothing more than to grow another pair of legs at that moment. How can he be so strong? How? He even butchered Master Realm martial artists. Little brother is no match for him even if he was stronger. I must flee and ask father to send powerhouses to kill Lu Ming. Wei Ziming growled as he was making a run for it. Are you still thinking about killing me at a time like this? Suddenly, a voice rang out beside Wei Ziming. Ah! Wei Ziming screamed in fright. He turned his head around to see Lu Ming leering at him, and he felt chilled to the bone. Wei Ziming dared not continue his escape. He stopped in his tracks and kneeled in a heartbeat as he began to plead, Lu Ming, spare me. I'm begging you. This gave Lu Ming a slight surprise. It turned out that Wei Ziming was weak-willed, a completely different person from Wei Zio. I've already killed Wei Zio. Do you think I'll let you off? Lu Ming smiled feebly. Lu Ming, no, brother Ming, don't worry. I won't utter a word about what happened today. Also, you've killed Wei Zio, so that's great. He was more talented than I am. I lived in his shadow and always wanted him dead. Now that he's gone, nobody will contest my position as the Lord of the Guardian Fire City. Wei Ziming begged pleadingly as tears and snot slid down his face. However, his mind was a howling fury. If he lived to tell the tale, he would definitely return Lu Ming the favor back by tenfold or even 100-fold. If I don't kill you, aren't I just waiting for your revenge? Do you think I'm that stupid? Lu Ming smiled. No, Wei Ziming yelped. He tried to get up and take off, but his head flew into the distance at the flash of a blade. One of them got away. What a pity. Lu Ming murmured. There was still a youth from the Duanmu family who was in the 9th grade warrior realm. He turned around with all his might and was so quick that it was impossible to catch up with him. PFFF. Lu Ming's body swayed as a mouthful of fresh blood suddenly spurted out from his mouth. The attacks of martial realm are really strong. He sighed. He had erupted his blood meridian and blocked the attacks of Duanmu Fei and others just now. Although he was protected from half the power of those attacks, and another portion with the protection from the 9th grade warrior realm, he was still injured. However, it was worth the injury in exchange for the lives of 3 Master Realm experts. From the perspective of combat power, Lu Ming might not have been able to handle 3 of them, even if he had the spirit-devouring worm. Lu Ming had used the peculiar skill of the spirit-devouring worm to surprise them just now and defeat them in one go. So Duanmu Fei and the youth in the brocade garb did not even get the chance to erupt their blood meridians. Lu Ming wiped the blood from the corner of his lips and returned to the battlefield. He consumed the blood essence of Wei Zio, Duanmu Fei, and the youth in the brocade garb. After that, he left the area and found himself a secluded spot to begin refining the blood essence. The blood essences of the 3 Master Realm experts held immeasurable energy. Even if only half of it was converted into essential qi, it would significantly accelerate Lu Ming's journey in his cultivation. At the same time, the injuries that he sustained were rapidly recovering. After the blood essences of the 3 Master Realm martial artists were fully refined, another pale red meridian focal point appeared beside the 2 red meridian focal points on the spirit-devouring worm. It was a 3rd-level blood meridian. Lu Ming's blood meridian had ascended to another level, reaching the 3rd level. At the same time, Lu Ming's cultivation had reached the peak top of 9th grade warrior realm. He was just shy of breaking into Master Realm. However, it was that small gap that was blocking Lu Ming's journey. I've been improving too rapidly in this period of time. My essential qi is too impure and my foundation isn't solid enough. It's no wonder I can't make the breakthrough. With the increased amount of blood essence devoured came the drawbacks. After all, the improvement did not come from his own cultivation, so his foundation was not solid and his essential qi was impure. Were it not for that, he would have been able to step into Master Realm with the blood essence from the 3 Master Realm experts. I'll have to stop devouring blood essences and spend some time consolidating my foundation. Lu Ming believed that his essential qi would once again be pure and viscous, after spending some time consolidating his foundation, which would naturally lead to him breaking through the Master Realm. Lu Ming then found another spot to move to. He did not continue to hunt for demonic beasts, but concentrated on cultivating the true war dragon technique and other martial arts skills instead. He spent a total of 9 days cultivating. After 9 days of grueling cultivation, Lu Ming's essential qi was no longer impure. It had returned to being pure and viscous while his foundation was solid. Naturally, it led to Lu Ming's cultivation breaking through into the Master Realm. Swish! A black sword chi shot out when Lu Ming slashed his sword, chopping a tree that was as thick as a human waist. Essential chi was able to physically manifest in the master realm. It was unbelievably strong and was able to form sword chi and chi strikes. My essential chi is several times thicker now. If I were to battle against master realm martial artists like Wei Zhou and Duan Mufei, I'd be able to end them in one move. Lu Ming's eyes glimmered brightly. Let's try out the dragon serpent steps. Over that period of time, his other martial arts skills did not improve. However, the dragon serpent steps made another breakthrough, reaching the 6th stage called the One with Martial Arts stage. It was the highest stage of a martial arts skill. Bam! In an explosion of essential chi and the vibrations of his muscles, Lu Ming's figure darted around like the wind. The leaves that had fallen onto the ground were dancing in the air while his figure was already 23 meters away. Make no mistake, it was 23 meters. The supposed distance traversed in the One with Martial Arts stage was a little over 12 meters. However, his breakthrough to the Master Realm allowed him to achieve his current distance. A higher level of cultivation would naturally lead to a greater effect when using the same martial arts skill. There are still 4 days left from the end of the trial. I'll have to do my best to find those point-worthy metal pieces. Lu Ming darted away and disappeared into the woods. Chapter 36. Chapter 36. Saving the Damsel in Distress. 1. Lu Ming had killed at least 10 6th-grade first-level demonic beasts before this, and there were point-worthy metal pieces on some of them. He had 5 2-point metal pieces and 3 1-point metal pieces, totaling up to 13 points. He has also gotten a total of 12 points from Wei Zhou and the rest. Oh! Lu Ming now had 25 points, which were enough for him to be upgraded to be a bronze apprentice. With 100-to-1 shot of getting first place, merely being upgraded was not enough for him. The first place winner would be rewarded with the spirit condensing fruit. He would fight for it with all his might even if he was currently far behind in terms of points. Lu Ming put his dragon serpent steps to full use and zipped through the woods. He went straight for demonic beasts with point-worthy metal pieces on them, skipping all the ordinary demonic beasts. By nightfall, he had gotten another 1-point metal piece and a 2-point metal piece, which brought him to a total of 28 points. Clang! Suddenly, Lu Ming heard fighting sounds near where he was. Someone's there. Lu Ming could vaguely see firelight flickering up ahead through the canopy of trees from where the sound came from. Let's take a look. He moved towards the bonfire up ahead and saw 4 people by the bonfire: Feng Wu, Yuan Chong, Zhou Hao and Zhou Su. However, things were not as he would have expected. Zhou Hao and Zhou Su lay limply on the ground, their faces a sickly pale color. Feng Wu had her sword drawn, but her body was shaking. Her face held the same shade of white while her eyes filled with rage as she glowered at Yuan Chong. Yuan Chong, why did you poison the meat? She snarled. With his sword drawn and a warped expression, Yuan Chong snickered. Why? Feng Wu, you bitch, I've pursued you endlessly for the past 2 years. Why didn't you accept me? You even yelled at me because of that bastard Lu Ming before this. I've had enough. You've now been poisoned by my unscented tissue paralyzing drug. Let's see how you'll fight it. I'll make you my woman today, haha. Feng Wu's face was distorted with rage as she yelled. How dare you, Yuan Chong? Big sis Mulan will make you pay for this when the test is over. Mulan. Heh. That bitch will become the Duanmu family's play toy sooner or later. Also, did you think you were gonna leave this place alive? Yuan Chong jeered. Are you gonna kill us? Feng Wu sputtered. She could barely stand upright as she struggled to maintain her balance. Heh, Feng Wu, I'll take care of you personally after I take care of you, so you'll only belong to me, Yuan Chong taunted. You pervert. Feng Wu's face was as pale as death. With a shiver, she collapsed onto the ground. Senior brother Yuan, don't kill me. Have your way. Take your time with Feng Wu. I promise not to breathe a word of whatever happened today. Zhou Hao cried. Me too, senior brother Yuan. I swear I'll die a painful death if I say anything at all. Zhou Su added. Unfortunately, I believe that dead people are the best secret keepers. Yuan Chong walked towards Zhou Hao and Zhou Su with a sinister smile on his face. No, have mercy on me. The two of them cried out in extreme terror. Slash. Slash. Yuan Chong's sword gleamed as it slit open Zhou Hao and Zhou Su's throats. Now it's just you and I. He then turned and sauntered towards Feng Wu. You know. Feng Wu's face was deathly pale as she fearfully tried to scuttle backward. Unfortunately, she could barely move a limb after being poisoned by the unscented tissue-paralyzing drug. Glee filled Yuan Chong's heart upon the sight of a paralyzed Feng Wu. He walked to her side and grabbed her by the arm. Ryup! Debris of cloth flew everywhere. Die a horrific death, you filthy animal! Feng Wu cried out in despair. At that moment she gave up all hope. She treated Yuan Chong like a friend, so she certainly did not expect him to be such a monster. She was supposed to enjoy life, especially her youth, but she was going to die here. In addition to that, she would be defiled before she died. Feng Wu wanted to end it there and then. This place is so secluded. Did you think that someone would rescue you? Yuan Chong mocked Feng Wu as he leaped towards her. Just then a voice rang out, "Excuse me, my apologies." Alarmed, Yuan Chong turned upon hearing that voice. Feng Wu was ecstatic as hope glimmered in her eyes. Both looked pointedly to where the voice came from. Lu Ming. It's you. Yuan Chong and Feng Wu exclaimed at the same time. With his arms folded, Lu Ming strode towards them with a faint smile on his face and said to Yuan Chong, "What? Disappointed to see me alive?" "I'm a little disappointed indeed. You survived the Duanmu family and Wei Zio. Too bad you're a foolish one. Since you ran away, you should have found yourself a corner and hid like a dog till the test is over. Instead, you're right here. Why? Are you gonna play hero and save the damsel in distress, you piece of trash? Ha ha ha." Yuan Chong chuckled scornfully as killing intent flashed through his eyes. "Lu Ming, why are you here? Hurry, go now. You're no match for Yuan Chong." Feng Wu had hope when she saw that someone found them, but that hope turned to despair when she realized that it was Lu Ming. "Senior sister Feng Wu, I'm distinctly firm with my gratitude and grudges. I'll repay them accordingly. You've helped me with Wei Zio once, so I'll repay the kindness now by saving your life." Lu Ming smiled. "1. Save her? Lu Ming, you piece of trash, how are you gonna save her?" Yuan Chong laughed. "With my fist, of course." Lu Ming's face hardened as he swung his fist towards Yuan Chong. "Do you wanna die?" Yuan Chong thrust his palm and attacked Lu Ming. He was going to increase Feng Wu's despair by destroying Lu Ming's cultivation. Only that would elevate his joy. Unfortunately, ideals were not reality. When his palm collided with Lu Ming's fist, he felt a gush of immense essential qi from the latter that dislevered his essential qi immediately. A bone-breaking pain erupted in his arm. Yuan Chong yelped as he was forced backward. "Master Realm! Impossible! How are you already in Master Realm, Lu Ming?" He cried out in disbelief. "Master Realm?" Feng Wu's eyes shone with hope upon witnessing what had happened. "Yuan Chong, I told you I'd defeat you in 2 months. Well, it looks like I only needed half a month." Lu Ming smirked coldly. "Want to defeat me? Don't even think about it. Go to hell." Yuan Chong bellowed furiously as immense intent to kill gleamed in his eyes. He took his sword up and attacked Lu Ming. Lu Ming and Feng Wu had to die. If not, when the test was over, his journey in the mystical sword sect would end too. Chapter 37. Chapter 37. Killing Yuan Chong. Slash. Lu Ming swung his sword nonchalantly and his swordlight shot out like lightning. Oh! The swordlight pierced through Yuan Chong's wrist, completely severing his tendons. Ah! Yuan Chong howled in pain as he retreated in a frenzy. How did it end up like this? It's only been about 10 days. How did Lu Ming become so strong? How? No, I refuse to accept it. I can't die. I must run away and report this to the Duanmu family and their experts, so they can kill Lu Ming once and for all. Then I'll get my hands on Feng Wu. I still have hope. Various thoughts spewed out within Yuan Chong's mind. You've run out of chances, Lu Ming stated as the light from his sword pierced through Yuan Chong's heart. That was all it took to put an end to Yuan Chong's thoughts for good. Curse you, Lu Ming! Yuan Chong roared with regret. Lu Ming was so firm that he did not give him any chance at all. Almost immediately, Yuan Chong's life flowed out of him and Lu Ming soundlessly devoured his essence. From the side, Feng Wu gawked at Lu Ming. She was blown away. When Lu Ming disappeared about 10 days ago, she thought that something bad had happened to him. She looked for him for a few days but to no avail. Lu Ming shockingly appeared out of thin air, just moments before, and displayed such an overpowering advantage over Yuan Chong, and killed him in the process. This was all too bewildering for her. Had Lu Ming been suppressing his abilities before this? It was possible. Are you okay, senior sister Feng Wu? Lu Ming walked towards Feng Wu, grabbed her and ran as fast as he could. The wind roared in their ears as the night breeze slapped their faces continuously. Feng Wu peeled her eyes open and found Lu Ming speeding through the woods with her in his arms. He glanced at her and smiled. It was a genuine, pure, platonic smile with no ulterior motives. The smell of blood would have attracted beasts. We need to move. Lu Ming dashed through the woods. In no time they found a quiet cave 5 kilometers away. Lu Ming placed Feng Wu down and draped his coat over her. Then he sat in lotus position, closed his eyes and meditated. Feng Wu glanced at him deeply and proceeded to forcefully expel the drug from her system. At the break of dawn, she managed to expel all the drugs from her system and recovered from the paralysis. Lu Ming opened his eyes. "Why'd you disappear, Lu Ming?" she asked without warning. Yuan Chong. There and then Lu Ming told Feng Wu everything that happened the past 10 days since Yuan Chong blocked his way. However, he kept mum about his blood meridians, of course. That Yuan Chong is really a monster. How could he also gang up with the Duanmu family? Feng Wu gritted her teeth. "All right, now that you have all the poison expelled, I'll be on my way," he said. "Why don't we work together, Lu Ming? Experts from different halls have started to band up. From what I know, there's a super genius in the Duanmu family by the name of Duanmu Ju. He's the strongest newbie in the White Tiger Hall. He's teamed up with many experts from Duanmu family and the White Tiger Hall to scavenge for point-worthy metal pieces everywhere, because he's aiming to get first place. If you bump into them alone, it's going to be really dangerous, so I think it's best that we both team up. At least, we can watch each other's backs," she explained as she held him back. "The Duanmu family? Do you know where they are?" Lu Ming's eyes shone as he asked. "I do know where they are, but what are you planning?" "To grab their point-worthy metal pieces, of course." A cold smile was etched on Lu Ming's face as he added in his heart, "I'll take it as a small part of their interest repayment." "You want to rob the Duanmu family? It's too dangerous." Feng Wu paled. "Oh, I'm not gonna face them head-on, so what's there to fear?" he answered. "All right, we'll go together then." She swung her fists in the air, her ponytail swish-swashing as a glint of excitement grew in her eyes. Feng Wu was a mischievous one too. "Haha, let's team up then." Lu Ming laughed. "Wait!" Feng Wu yelped and scurried towards the bushes. In a short moment when she walked out, she had changed into a different set of clothes. Storage rings. Lu Ming was slightly moved. Storage rings were rings made by powerful inscribers that gave its bearer space to store things. It was extremely expensive and scarce. Even families as huge as the Lu family could not afford one. There was more than what met the eyes when it came to Feng Wu. "Thanks for your coat." She tossed the coat back to Lu Ming and led the way as the pair made their way toward the deeper parts of the Midnight Hills. Chapter 38. Chapter 38. Collecting Interest. Lu Ming and Feng Wu hid in a humongous tree beyond 25 kilometers. 2 young men were eating roasted meat near that tree. "Oh, let's quickly finish up and proceed, so we don't get in the way of what the Duanmu family's planned." "Got it. It's a big thing to help the Duanmu family capture a lightning leopard cub." Of course, the cub was to be presented to young Lord Duanmu Lin. The 2 newbies of the White Tiger Hall ate as they spoke. A lightning leopard cub. Lu Ming and Feng Wu were shocked. The lightning leopard was one of the few exquisite demonic beasts that carried lightning in its blood, and was as fast as the wind. A full-grown lightning leopard was at least a 4th-level demonic beast, which was equivalent to a leader realm martial artist. Lu Ming was especially intrigued as his eyes glowed with excitement. The lightning leopard's blood was one of the 3 important ingredients to cultivate the second stage of the true war dragon technique. One of them was the spirit-condensing fruit, and the other 2 were the lightning leopard's blood and the blood mist rocks. 1. Lu Ming definitely needed to obtain the lightning leopard's blood. Soon, the 2 White Tiger Hall apprentices got up and journeyed ahead after they were done eating. "Let's follow them," Lu Ming said to Feng Wu, who nodded and snuck behind the 2 White Tiger Hall's apprentices with him. A few kilometers into the journey, the 2 White Tiger Hall apprentices lit a handful of dry grass, and billows of white smoke spread into the woods. At the same time, the same white smoke appeared from a few other directions. Only the north side was clear from the white smoke. Swoosh! Not long after that, a silvery white shadow darted out from the woods and dashed northwards. "It really is a lightning leopard," Lu Ming thought. Clearly, the lightning leopard was afraid of the white smoke, so it ran towards the area that was clear of smoke. "The lightning leopard is out. Let's corner it towards that canyon over there." A loud voice rang out as silhouettes headed towards the leopard's direction. The 2 White Tiger Hall's apprentices followed suit with Lu Ming and Feng Wu close on their tail. After a while, a canyon was in sight. For people were guarding the entrance of the canyon while the lightning leopard and the rest of the people were nowhere to be seen. They might have entered the canyon earlier on. "Let's check it out." Lu Ming grinned and made his way towards the canyon. "Stop. The Duanmu family has business here. Get the fuck out of here," one of the 4 Duanmu disciples ordered as Lu Ming and Feng Wu came near. "Last I recall, the Midnight Hills don't belong to the Duanmu family. Who are you to tell me where I should go?" A cold smile hung on Lu Ming's face as he took long strides towards the canyon. "How dare you, you brat? Are you looking for trouble?" the same Duanmu disciple roared. He looked carefully at Lu Ming as recognition flashed through his eyes and he cried out, "I remember. You're Lu Ming. Haha, of all the places you choose to go, you had to come here. Now then, leave your head here." He unsheathed his sword and attacked Lu Ming right away. In a flash, Lu Ming's sword was faster as it went through the Duanmu disciple's chest in a poof. That Duanmu disciple was only a 9th grade warrior realm, and was no match for him at all. You killed a Duanmu disciple. That's it. You're finished." The other 3 guarding the canyon paled and cried out in disbelief. They were not disciples of the Duanmu family. They were one of White Tiger Hall's new apprentices with much lower cultivation levels at only the 7th and 8th grade warrior realm. Swoosh swoosh. Another beam of sword light shone and sliced through their throats. It was Feng Wu. The 3 White Tiger Hall's disciples fell to the ground, their eyes bulging without any breath left in their bodies. Lu Ming looked at Feng Wu in surprise as he did not expect her to also kill without hesitation. 1. Let's see if they have point-worthy metal pieces on them. Carefully devouring their essence in concealment, Lu Ming searched all 4 bodies. However, essence from a warrior realm martial artist was of little use to him. Alas, Lu Ming and Feng Wu found a total of 26 points on them, so they divvied them up to 13 points each. They continued to make way towards the canyon. The canyon was at least 1,000 meters tall with smooth, marble-like rock linings on both sides. No wonder the Duanmu disciples had chased the lightning leopard here. In this canyon, no matter how fast the lightning leopard was, it could not escape. At the end of the 1,000-meter canyon, smooth marble-like rock linings surrounded the space too. 5 people were surrounding a white fur ball in the middle. The white fur ball was a lightning leopard cub which was as small as a dog. Its fur was as white as snow with strands of lightning buzzing through its body. Blood soaked the leopard cub's fur. It laid on the ground wounded while it observed its surroundings with sad, helpless eyes. "Be careful. We need it alive. Just injuring it will do. This lightning leopard's meant to be given to young Master Lin as a pet so he can extract the leopard's blood for cultivation every month," a young man instructed. Judging by his clothing, he was undoubtedly a Duanmu disciple, and he was the only one out of the 5. "Don't worry, brother Duanmu. What matters to young Master Lin is of my topmost priority." "That's right." The other 4 chimed in agreement. Suddenly they heard footsteps approaching, and when they turned around and found Lu Ming and Feng Wu, their expressions changed. "Lu Ming? What are you doing here?" The Duanmu disciple cried out in bewilderment. Why can't I be here? Lu Ming answered with a faint smile. The people at the canyon's entrance. What did you do to them? The Duanmu disciple questioned sternly. Killed them, of course. Lu Ming answered nonchalantly. What? You killed them? You bastard. Everyone, he's wronged the Duanmu family. Let's kill him. The Duanmu disciple bellowed. I'll slaughter him. A gray-robed young man flew out as he pummeled his fist towards Lu Ming's head, intending to make Lu Ming's head explode with a punch. The wind whistled as the gray-robed young man's fist cut through the air, accompanied by the explosion of his first-grade Master Realm's essential chi. Boom! With one foot stomping heavily on the ground, Lu Ming shot out like an arrow. His sword flashed as quickly as a shooting star. Pff. The gray-robed young man had a deep laceration across his chest as Lu Ming's sword punctured his heart, slicing it into half. That was all the young man could utter before he collapsed and died. Lu Ming killed a first-grade Master Realm expert in just one move. The other four of them could not believe their eyes. Guys, let's slaughter him altogether. The Duanmu disciple exploded. Boom! Boom! Oh! All four of them made their blood meridians explode. The Duanmu disciple had a 4th-level blood meridian, while the other 3 had 3rd-level blood meridians. They were all in 1st-grade Master Realm. Creator's thoughts. Reese. From February 15, 2020, coins spent on books that aren't selected will be refunded within 30 days. However, fast passes will not be refunded. The selected book will have a mark on the corner of the book cover in 30 days to indicate continuation. Thank you for your understanding. Chapter 39. Chapter 39, Lightning Leopard's Blood. The Duanmu family was indeed powerful to have gathered so many experts together, since there were only 100 people amongst the new apprentices to have cultivated to the level of Master Realm. All 4 of the White Tiger Hall apprentices attacked Lu Ming and Feng Wu with all of their might. Oh! Chirp! A chirp was heard as Feng Wu unleashed her blood meridians. Her 5th-level blood meridians were in the form of an ice soul bird. 5th-level blood meridians were considered one of the top meridians amongst the new apprentices. Slay! Feng Wu cried out as she attacked. Lu Ming moved in quickly as he started his assault. Clang! Clang! A symphony of weapons clashing and essential chi exploding could be heard as they fought. There was only one person from the opposing party fighting Feng Wu. The other 3 were going against Lu Ming. Nevertheless, Lu Ming fought swiftly, and his essential chi and swordsmanship were undefeatable. Lu Ming cut one of his 3 opponents into half after a few mere moves. Blood was spilled yet again as Lu Ming's sword stabbed another opponent in the heart. The 3 Master Realm martial artists were as fragile as babies in front of Lu Ming. They did not even stand a chance. Finally, only the Duanmu disciple remained. How is Lu Ming so strong? Didn't that old geyser Lu Yunxiong say that he's only a low-level martial artist? He lied to us. The Duanmu disciple roared in his heart. He could not care less about the lightning leopard anymore as he tried to run for his life. From behind, Lu Ming pierced his heart with his sword immediately. It was impossible to run away from him. Ah! At the same time, a desperate cry was heard on the other side of the battlefield, as Feng Wu killed the other White Tiger Hall apprentice. A 5th-level blood meridian carried more destruction than a 3rd-level blood meridian. Her eyes flickered as she gaped at Lu Ming. The 3 martial artists that were on the same level as he was were no match against him at all, and all that happened even before he unleashed his blood meridians. That's crazy. No wonder Big Sis Mulan had such high hopes of him. Feng Wu pondered. Lu Ming walked towards the lightning leopard. Oh! Whimpered the lightning leopard. It lay on the ground with severe injuries on its body as it looked at Lu Ming with eyes filled with despair. Lu Ming's heart went out for it as he was reminded about the time when Lu Yao and Lu Yunxiong had stripped him of his blood meridians. If this lightning leopard ended up in the Duanmu family's hands, it would not end well. What are you going to do with this lightning leopard cub, Lu Ming? I think you should carry it out because a lightning leopard cub's really precious out there. Feng Wu suggested. Lu Ming asked with a laugh, do you have an empty jade bottle and some healing medicine with you? Senior Feng Wu. Yep. Fengwu nodded as she conjured 2 jade bottles out of thin air. One of them was empty while the other one contained a healing medicine to aid muscle repair and stop bleeding. Thanks, Senior Feng. Lu Ming thanked Fengwu as he approached the lightning leopard with the jade bottles in his hands. Roar! The lightning leopard growled and bared its fangs as Lu Ming went near it. Don't worry, lil fella. I won't kill you. I won't take you away. I just need a little bit of your blood. Then I'll help you heal. Lu Ming smiled as he promptly seized the cub by its neck. Since the cub was already hurt and there was blood oozing out of its wounds, Lu Ming filled the empty jade bottle with about half a bottle of its blood, kept it, and poured the muscle-repairing bleed-stopping medicine onto the lightning leopard's wounds. The muscle-repairing bleed-stopping medicine was a top-notch medicine. Within seconds, the cub's wounds stopped bleeding. Go on. Find a place to heal yourself, lil fella. Don't get captured again now, Lu Ming said as he patted the cub's head. 1. Hoo-hoo. The lightning leopard cub whimpered as it stared at Lu Ming with puppy eyes, surprised about why Lu Ming would let it go. On the side, Fengwu was caught by surprise too. Are you really letting it go, Lu Ming? Lightning leopard cubs fetch a hefty price out there, you know? We're gonna take more point-worthy metal pieces from the Duanmu family in a while. I sure won't have the time to babysit it. Lu Ming laughed. Hoo-hoo. The lightning leopard cub ran to Lu Ming and rubbed its head against his leg. Then it ran to Fengwu's leg and did the same. 1. What a clever little fella. It's so cute. Fengwu praised as her eyes sparkled. Hoo-hoo. The lightning leopard whimpered as it looked deeply at Lu Ming. Then it turned and ran out of the canyon at lightning speed. Lu Ming chuckled before searching for point-worthy metal pieces on the corpses, conveniently devouring their blood essence. The blood essence of 5 first-grade Master Realm martial artists was beneficial to Lu Ming. They are indeed Master Realm geniuses. They have 30 points each. The point-worthy metal pieces made Lu Ming and Fengwu thrilled. There were a total of 153 points from the 5 of them combined. Fengwu only took 50 points and gave the rest to Lu Ming since if it was not for him, she would not have won against the 5 other first-grade Master Realm. Lu Ming's goal was to be the first, so he unabashedly kept the rest of the 83 points. He now had 124 points now. Give me a moment please, Senior Sister Feng. Lu Ming sat down in lotus position and started to cultivate the blood essence he devoured. The blood essence of the 5 first-grade Master Realm martial artists was very condensed, and as it continued to be converted to essential qi, Lu Ming's cultivation rose at an alarming rate. A short while later, Lu Ming shuddered. 2nd-grade Master Realm. His eyes glinted. Yuan Chong, 6 first-grade Master Realm martial artists, and a few Warrior Realm martial artists' essence contributed to Lu Ming's breakthrough in cultivation. However, his blood meridians were still on the 3rd level. Let's go, Senior Sister Feng. Lu Ming got up and said to Fengwu. She looked at Lu Ming curiously. His breakthrough was so subtle that she did not even notice it. She was just intrigued about why Lu Ming had sat down to cultivate, then got up after a short time. Fengwu did not pry into his reasons. After all, everyone had their secrets, didn't they? Both of them exited the canyon and continued their journey towards the inner parts of the Midnight Hills. Most of the Duanmu family's teams were deeper in the woods. An hour later, Lu Ming and Fengwu noticed a pattern carved on a tree, so they stopped. It was the carving of a very lifelike vermilion bird on the tree bark. What does this mean? Lu Ming asked. That was the 3rd time they were seeing a similar carving on the trees in the past hour. This is a sign specific to the Vermilion Bird Hall. Someone's calling out for the Vermilion Bird Hall apprentices. You see, the bird's head points in that direction. That's where the gathering's at. Oh, I see. Lu Ming was new to the Vermilion Bird Hall, so he knew nothing about that. He was not like the other geniuses in the bigger cities who had done their research about the mystical sword school before enrolling. They normally wouldn't gather apprentices like this. What could have happened? Let's take a look, shall we? Fengwu suggested, slightly confused. Sure. Lu Ming nodded. Then he and Fengwu walked towards the direction that the vermilion bird pointed in. Creator's thoughts. Reese. From February 15, 2020, coins spent on books that aren't selected will be refunded within 30 days. However, Fast passes will not be refunded. The selected book will have a mark on the corner of the book cover in 30 days to indicate continuation. Thank you for your understanding. Chapter 40. Chapter 40. The Vermilion Bird Hall's #1 expert. Night fell as Lu Ming and Feng Wu followed the trail of the vermilion bird pattern for another 10 kilometers. They were greeted with a huge bunch of bonfires as the flames leaped and danced in the night. Oh! Swoosh! Swoosh! A few shadows appeared out of nowhere and stopped them from going further. Who are you? This is a Vermilion Bird Hall gathering. Are you the Vermilion Bird Hall apprentices? One of the shadows asked. That's right. We're the Vermilion Bird Hall apprentices. My name's Feng Wu replied. Haha, oh, it's you, junior sister Feng. This way. A burst of laughter rang out near the bonfire area as a young man walked toward Feng Wu. This young man was tall and lean. His arms were lanky and his eyes glinted, emitting a dangerous aura. In Kai, it's you. Feng Wu was stunned as she laid eyes on the young man. So this is In Kai? Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Before the test started, Lu Ming had gathered some information from Feng Wu. The famous In Kai was known as the #1 expert among all of Vermilion Bird Hall's new apprentices. Legends had it that he had only been 17 when he awakened a 5th-level blood meridian and achieved a cultivation of 4th-grade master realm. In Kai's gaze swept past Lu Ming without lingering and landed on Feng Wu as he invited her. Junior sister Feng Wu, let's talk over there. In Kai led them to one of the bonfires. There were about 5 bonfires where nearly 50 Vermilion Bird Hall apprentices were gathered. The bonfire they were led to had 8 people seated around it. All 8 of them had great presence and were Master Realm experts. A few of them had such an abnormally strong presence that they seemed like they were far beyond being in 1st-grade Master Realm. They nodded when they saw Feng Wu. Since no one knew Lu Ming or had heard his name before, he was automatically disregarded. Senior brother In Kai, did you guys carve all those vermilion bird patterns? Feng Wu asked. That's right. I ordered someone else to do it. Junior sister Feng Wu, I suppose you guys followed the carvings here, am I right? In Kai replied with a faint smile. Yep, we're here only because of the vermilion bird carvings, and we wanted to know what's up. Senior brother In, why have you gathered the Vermilion Bird Hall apprentices with the vermilion bird carvings? Junior sister Feng, I'm sure you already knew that there was a 500-point metal piece this time around. In Kai's eyes sparkled as he replied. A 500-point metal piece? Did you guys find out where it was? Feng Wu was shocked. Lu Ming was also caught by surprise. The 500-point metal piece. Everyone wanted to get their hands on it because it signified that its owner could get the first place. It was essential. That's right. In Kai nodded and continued. Apart from us at the Vermilion Bird Hall, the White Tiger Hall, the Azure Dragon Hall, and the Onyx Tortoise Hall found it too. That's why I'm gathering people, because this 500-point metal piece mustn't fall into the hands of the other 3 halls. We haven't won since 8 years ago. You want to get your hands on this 500-point metal piece, so that you'll be the apprentice champion, Senior In? Feng Wu's eyes flashed. Of course. From the side, a stony-faced young man said, other than Senior In Kai, who else in the Vermilion Bird Hall is worthy of being the apprentice champion? 1. Feng Wu pursed her lips and refused to respond to the stony-faced young man's statement and asked, do you have any idea what kind of demonic beast has the 500-point metal piece? It's on a mutated black-scaled monitor lizard. This black-scaled monitor lizard is a 9th-grade 2nd-level demonic beast. If we were to combat it head-on, no one in all the 4 halls could take this metal piece away. So we've come to an agreement. Since the black-scaled monitor lizard loves to eat acelyviride rabbits, as long as we manage to capture and spike these rabbits, the lizard will fall into a deep sleep. By then, all 4 halls will fight for that 500-point metal piece. What do you think, Junior Feng? Stay back and help me, won't you? In Kai coaxed. What do we get after helping you? Lu Ming asked unexpectedly. What will you get? What do you mean? In Kai frowned. The reward for helping you out, of course. Let's make a deal. We'll help you get the 500-point metal piece so that you'll be the apprentice champion, but you'll give us the spirit condensing fruit when you've claimed your first place reward. What do you say? Lu Ming answered. Lu Ming aimed to get the spirit-condensing fruit. As long as he could get it, what harm was there in giving Yin Kai a boost? You want the spirit-condensing fruit? Yin Kai's face darkened. You brat, you really don't know any better. Assisting senior brother Yin so he becomes the apprentice champion is a corporate glory for all Vermilion Bird Hall apprentices. As long as you're in the Vermilion Bird Hall, you should just help out unconditionally. Yet you still want a reward for helping out? Delusional. The stony-faced young man uttered darkly. 1. His name was Yuan Lang, a well-known genius in the current batch of new Vermilion Bird Hall apprentices. He was a third-grade master realm. Lu Ming chuckled coldly. He finally understood. Yin Kai carved the Vermilion Bird pattern, gathered the Vermilion Bird Hall apprentices, and expected them to help him grab the apprentice champion title for nothing. Lu Ming did not have the habit of blindly helping someone out. Besides that, he was not even close to them in the first place. Corporate glory for all the Vermilion Bird Hall apprentices? What a pompous-sounding phrase. Lu Ming looked at Yuan Lang mockingly and taunted. Since it's for the glory of the Vermilion Bird Hall, sure thing. When we get the 500-point medal piece, give it to me so that I'll be the apprentice champion for the Vermilion Bird Hall's glory. Upon hearing that, Yin Kai, Yuan Lang, and his followers' faces darkened like an impending thunderstorm. Who the heck do you think you are? You the apprentice champion? Yuan Lang barked. Oh. Lu Ming's voice dripped with sarcasm. He turned and looked at Feng Wu with such disdain as he asked, Senior brother Feng, are you gonna stay? I'm done entertaining them. Nope, not interested. Let's go then. Feng Wu replied and was about to leave with him. You too. Stand right there. Yuan Lang bellowed. Swoosh. His body moved quickly as he prevented Lu Ming and Feng Wu from leaving. What does this mean, Yin Kai? Feng Wu turned and questioned Yin Kai in rage. Yin Kai answered with a malicious smile, this time I must be the champion, so take out all the metal pieces you have right now. Yin Kai, Feng Wu was so mad. She did not expect Yin Kai to be so despicable. It's okay if you don't want to fight with us. Just leave your point-worthy metal pieces with me. Yuan Lang looked at Lu Ming scornfully. Who are you to block my way? Fuck off like the dog that you are. Lu Ming raised his voice. What an arrogant brat. Well, to be this arrogant you've got to have what it takes. Let's see what you've got. Yuan Lang mocked, forming his hands in the shape of an eagle's claws, and assaulting Lu Ming. Chapter 41. Chapter 41, Fighting a Third-Grade Master. Lu Ming, be careful. Feng Wu's expression shifted as she cried out. Yuan Lang's cultivation had reached the third-grade master realm, and was not something a first-grade master could compare against. She was afraid that Lu Ming was no match for him. Oh! Flame Dragon Fist. Neither did Lu Ming dodge nor back down. He delivered a punch instead. Bam! As Lu Ming's fist and Yuan Lang's clawed hand collided, energy surged in all directions. Both of their figures glowed and they fell back 3 steps. In that exchange of blows they were evenly matched. A third-grade master is powerful indeed. Lu Ming's eyes gleamed as he thought to himself. With a massive gap between each level, the master realm was difficult to surmount. It was not something the warrior realm could rival. For instance, back when Lu Ming was on the 6th-grade warrior realm, boosted by 3 divine meridians, his true war dragon chi was twice as condensed as ordinary essential chi. In addition to his refined martial arts, he could rise above 3 levels in battle against 9th-grade warriors. However, in the master realm this was not possible. The additional power of the 3 divine meridians was still rather obvious on the warrior realm. Nonetheless, in the master realm, this power did not appear to be as useful. The main function of a divine meridian was exhibited through one's talent and potential instead of one's direct physical strength. Therefore, now that Lu Ming's cultivation was at 2nd-grade master realm, based on his own essential chi, he could rise above 1 level at most to battle against a 3rd-grade master. With his refined martial arts, suppressing or even killing a 3rd-grade master was not a problem. However, he would be in trouble if he encountered a 4th-grade master. Of course, this was assuming that Lu Ming's blood meridian had not exploded. When both of them drew back, the people around them were startled. Feng Wu was delighted. She never thought that Lu Ming could actually exchange equal blows with Yuan Lang. Just how strong is Lu Ming really? He must have been hiding his strength, yet Big Sis Mulan asked me to protect him? It's more like he should protect me. Feng Wu thought to herself, somewhat flabbergasted. By one side, Yin Kai and the rest were gripped by surprise. They had never heard of Lu Ming before. Where did he come from? He had such a formidable cultivation level. Yuan Lang's expression darkened, twisted by a murderous desire. He roared, Lu Ming, take this, 18 hawk claws. Zing zing. Yuan Lang's hands drew something out from his waist. In an instant he was wearing metal gloves. His clawed hand struck out rapidly and in succession, hitting 9 times in a flash. The 9 claw attacks targeted the 9 vital points of Lu Ming's body. Driven by essential qi, the sharp metal gloves sliced through the air, whistling piercingly as they did so. That's a superior yellow-level martial arts technique. Too bad his cultivation is lackluster. He's barely broken through to the 3rd stage. A cold smile tugged at Lu Ming's lips, then he unsheathed his long sword and wielded the lustrous sword technique. Zing zing. The blades of sword light whipped through the air as Lu Ming slashed Tilavir times in an instant. Clink, clink. Oh! The long sword and the metal gloves collided time and again as the two figures crossed each other midair. At last, the sound suddenly stopped as they separated. Suddenly, Yuan Lang's body shuddered and he spat a mouthful of blood out. Defeated, a wound had appeared over his chest, deep enough to reveal his bone. If Lu Ming had not restrained his own strength at that crucial moment, Yuan Lang would have been dead. You can scram now. Lu Ming cast an indifferent look at Yuan Lang, then started to walk forward. Clang! Clang! Oh! Weapons were unsheathed successively. Following that, a girl dressed in white cried out, Lu Ming, there are so many of us here with senior brother Yin Kai. Did you think that you can leave? Yin Kai, what are you doing? All of you are really going to stop us? Feng Wu said with an unhappy look. Yin Kai stared at Lu Ming gloomily without speaking. You may try and see if you can stop me, but I guarantee that the subsequent losses aren't something you can endure. Lu Ming lifted the longsword with a placid gaze which contained an unflinching will. His icy voice caused them to shiver involuntarily deep in their hearts. Yin Kai stared at Lu Ming for a long while. His eyes flashed brightly and he suddenly laughed. Haha! This is all a misunderstanding. Junior brother Lu Ming, you are impressive indeed. I've learned so much from this. I hope that we can be friends in the future. Senior sister Feng, let's go. Lu Ming did not even glance at Yin Kai as he turned to leave. Lu Ming, I was careless this time. Next time, you'll pay for my disgrace today many times over. Yuan Lang's cold voice rang out from behind them. Next time? You'd better wish that there's no next time, Lu Ming said casually. After that, he and Feng Wu vanished into the mountain woods. After both of them left, the white-clothed girl asked Yin Kai, Senior brother Yin, are we letting them go just like that? Lu Ming possesses great fighting powers. Moreover, our main target now is to compete against 3 other halls for the 500-point medal piece. We mustn't lose any manpower. After this test is over, I'll have a plan to deal with him. I'll make him sorry. As Yin Kai glared at the direction in which Lu Ming and Feng Wu had left, his eyes glittered dangerously. 1,000 meters away. Junior brother Lu Ming. Yin Kai is a petty person. After you've insulted him like that, he won't forgive you so easily, Feng Wu expressed somewhat worriedly. He'd better not come looking for trouble with me. Lu Ming smiled faintly. He was not fazed about someone like Yin Kai. Feng Wu's pretty eyes shimmered. Although she had known Lu Ming for quite some time, she realized that she could not figure him out completely. From her point of view, he seemed unfathomable. Lu Ming, what will you do next? She asked. What should I do next? I don't wish to miss out on the 500-point medal piece. A smirk flitted over Lu Ming's lips. Feng Wu widened her eyes as she exclaimed, Are you thinking of snatching it from the jaws of danger? Why not? With a grin, Lu Ming then climbed up a tree that was over 20 meters tall. From this distance he watched Yin Kai and the rest. He was going to track Yin Kai's group and snatch the 500-point metal piece from them. This guy sure is interesting. Fengwu looked at him, then climbed the tree and sat on the branch as well. The darkness dissipated, and the light of dawn emerged over the horizon. Far away, Yin Kai and the rest had extinguished their bonfire and were heading into the depths of the midnight hills. Lu Ming and Fengwu followed them from a distance. They traveled for more than 10 kilometers. After that, Yin Kai's group stopped below a large mountain. Beneath this peak was a gigantic cave. It was terrifyingly pitch black inside. A crowd of over 100 people had already gathered before the cave. Those from the White Tiger Hall and the Azure Dragon Hall have arrived, Fengwu said softly to Lu Ming. Lu Ming nodded. Lu Ming, if you fight later, there are a few people you must be wary of. Fengwu pointed to a youth who was wearing white robes with green embroidered sleeves and a purple jade belt. That guy is Duamuju. He's the strongest amongst the new batch in the White Tiger Hall. After that, she pointed at another youth in green robes. That one's called Huang Yu. He's the foremost expert amongst the Azure Dragon's new apprentices. Lu Ming made a soft, affirmative sound again. Fengwu rolled her eyes. Surely he was being too calm. These were all top geniuses who were strong contenders for this year's apprentice champion. Chapter 42. Chapter 42. The Mutated Black-Scaled Monitor Lizard. In an absent-minded manner, Fengwu started snorting softly as she pouted slightly. Without warning, Lu Ming was whispering by her ear, "You've so much to say. Do you care for me that much?" Oh. Fengwu was caught off guard and started in fright, nearly crying out loud. Her small face blushed furiously as she shot Lu Ming a vicious glare. "What nonsense is that? Who cares for you? If it weren't for Bis Sis Mulan's order, if it weren't for you rescuing me, I wouldn't have given two shits about you." "Oh, so that's how it is." Lu Ming clicked his tongue and looked away. Phew. Fengwu let out a gentle sigh. Even so, for some reason, her heart would not stop racing. In a short while, another group arrived. These were the apprentices of the Onyx Tortoise Hall. The 4 halls were all here. Lu Ming and Fengwu held their breaths as they stared ahead. After a moment, the apprentices of the 4 halls placed one Silavira-eyed rabbit after another at the cave's entrance. Then they all scattered and took up hiding spots nearby. There were over 50 Silavira-eyed rabbits at east. The Silavira-eyed rabbits were all filled up with drowsy powder. The smell of the rabbits charged the air. Rustle. In a while, a monitor lizard, which was half a meter tall and 4 meters long, came clambering out. It was covered in black scales. This was a black-scaled monitor lizard. Nevertheless, it was evidently just an ordinary black-scaled monitor lizard, which was equivalent to a second-grade second-level demonic beast. It was not a mutated black-scaled monitor lizard that was on the 9th-grade second level. The black-scaled monitor lizard spotted the Silavira-eyed rabbits the moment it crawled out. It hurriedly scampered forwards and swallowed a Silavira-eyed rabbit in a single gulp with great relish. Rustle. At this point, another black-scaled monitor lizard came out as well. It was not a mutated black-scaled monitor lizard either. Soon, a few black-scaled monitor lizards clambered out one after another. In a few moments, they had swallowed 10 or so Silavira-eyed rabbits. The apprentices of the 4 halls were rather anxious. They had spent several days just to capture these Silavira-eyed rabbits. If these ordinary black-scaled monitor lizards ate them all, the apprentices would not have a second chance. Currently, there were only 2 days left until the end of the test. They had no time to capture that many Silavira-eyed rabbits again. Furthermore, they did not have enough drowsy powder with them. Just then, roar! A thunderous cry echoed from the cave. Following that, there was continuous thumping as a colossal creature emerged. This was a black-scaled monitor lizard as well, but its size was 10 times that of the others. Moreover, its eyes were red. A metal piece that hung around this black-scaled monitor lizard's neck proclaimed 2 words, 500. The 500-point metal piece. Everyone's gazes shone fervently. Roar! Upon noticing the Silavira-eyed rabbits, the mutated black-scaled monitor lizard unleashed a loud howl. Russell. The other black-scaled monitor lizards seemed frightened and they all retreated. The mutated black-scaled monitor lizard forged ahead by itself and opened its grisly jaws. In one gulp, it devoured 5 or 6 Coelaviride rabbits. After a few minutes, almost 40 Coelaviride rabbits were swallowed by the mutated black-scaled monitor lizard. It roared once more, then turned around, slowly slinking back into the cave. Russell. At this point, the regular black-scaled monitor lizards, which had eaten the Coelaviride rabbits first, swayed slightly before falling to the ground and snoring in deep slumber. The drowsy powder in the Coelaviride rabbits within their stomachs was taking effect. The apprentices of the 4 halls did not rush into the cave as they waited for the medicine to work. The mutated black-scaled monitor lizard would not be knocked out as easily as the ordinary black-scaled monitor lizards. Only after 10 minutes had passed did the apprentices all race into the cave. After a few more minutes, Fengwu asked Lu Ming, "Are we going in too?" "I'm going in. Wait here for me." Lu Ming nodded before explaining further. "Things might get messy in there. If I'm alone, it'll be easier to escape." She bit her lip, aware that he was right. "All right. You must be careful then," she said. Lu Ming nodded. Then his figure darted off as he went into the cave. Outside the cave, there were still apprentices from the 4 halls whose cultivation levels were not that high. Even so, no one dared to stop Lu Ming. Since the other apprentices were inside as well, who would bother stopping him? Lu Ming made his way into the cave without any trouble. It was pitch dark in the cave. Although Lu Ming was a master realm martial artist, with much better eyesight than ordinary people, the cave was dim and gloomy to him as well. Lu Ming held his breath and cautiously made his way forward. However, after 100 meters there were a few forks in the path. He even noticed a black-scaled monitor lizard's body there. This was merely a first-level black-scaled monitor lizard, so Lu Ming had no interest in absorbing its blood essence. Thus he simply chose a path and continued onward. In this lair of the black-scaled monitor lizards, the paths weaved in all directions, intersecting in complicated ways. Lu Ming traveled a few hundred meters before encountering another crossroads. Once again he picked a path at random and went in deeper. On the way, he saw quite a few black-scaled monitor lizard bodies. There were 2 first-grade and 1 second-grade second-level black-scaled monitor lizards. Lu Ming did not pass them up and devoured all of their blood essences. As he walked, he cultivated the blood essence. His cultivation was rapidly improving. It was clear that apprentices of the 4 halls had numbers on their side. Throughout his journey, he did not see any corpses of the apprentices. In this manner, Lu Ming went forth for around 20 minutes, devouring 3 first-grade and 1 second-grade second-level black-scaled monitor lizards on his way. His cultivation successfully reached mid-second-grade master realm. Just then Lu Ming noticed a faint source of light up ahead. He trotted lightly as he headed towards the light. Upon approaching it, he discovered it was another cave entrance that was lower than an average person's height. He walked forward and looked out of the entrance and was taken aback. Outside this entrance, there was an enormous underground cavern. It was over 100 meters wide and dozens of meters tall. Everywhere on the stone walls of the cavern were rocks that glowed with a faint light. These were the luminous stone ores. If one extracted the glowing components of these ores, it could be used to manufacture luminous stones which could be used for illumination. With the light of the luminous stone ores, Lu Ming saw many entrances throughout the cavern as well. Through the entrances he could vaguely make out human figures. Quite a few men from the 4 halls were lying in wait outside these entrances. As for the entrance that Lu Ming was next to, it was more than 10 meters above the cavern's ground surface. In the center of the cavern, a colossal creature lay sprawled. It was that mutated black-scaled monitor lizard. At present, the black-scaled monitor lizard had not fallen into a deep sleep yet. It growled softly and opened its bloody mouth from time to time. No wonder the apprentices of the 4 halls had not made their move. They were waiting for the mutated black-scaled monitor lizard to sink into slumber. The mutated black-scaled monitor lizard was a 9th-grade second-level demonic beast, which was equivalent to a 9th-grade master realm powerhouse. Any martial artist below the 4th grade master realm would definitely die if they were struck by it even once. Time trickled by slowly. After 10 or so minutes, the eyelids of the mutated black-scaled monitor lizard grew heavier. It was dropping off but was not fully asleep yet. The mutated black-scaled monitor lizard's resistance was fearsome. Even after eating so many coelaviride rabbits, it could still hold on until now. Swoosh! Just then, a figure bolted out from one of the cave entrances like lightning, lunging towards the black-scaled monitor lizard's neck. Yin Kai! Lu Ming's eyes sparkled. That figure was actually Yin Kai. Chapter 43. Chapter 43. Making his move. Swoosh! Yin Kai was very swift. His blood meridian was a 5th level blood meridian, also known as the green-winged nighthawk, which excelled in speed. He had made his blood meridian explode and was quick as lightning. Oh! No wonder he dared to make a move even before the mutated black-scaled monitor lizard had fully fallen asleep. Yin Kai's figure flashed a few times, and he was already beneath the mutated black-scaled monitor lizard's neck. He reached out, seized the point-worthy metal piece, and tugged at it forcefully. The metal chain that bound the metal piece soon broke. Roar! The jerking motion seemed to aggravate the mutated black-scaled monitor lizard. It growled and swiped a massive claw towards Yin Kai. Yin Kai's body glowed suddenly and he evaded its attack. After its blow missed its target, the black-scaled monitor lizard seemed dizzy. With a low snarl, it did not give chase. Haha, the 500 points are mine. This year, I'll definitely be the apprentice champion. Seeing that the black-scaled monitor lizard did not pursue him, Yin Kai was filled with glee. He was on the verge of bursting out in joyful laughter. Yin Kai let go of the metal piece. At this moment, from the entrances around the cavern, one figure after another lunged forward. They were the experts of the 4 halls. Amongst them were the number 1 experts of the other 3 halls, Duanmuju, Huangyu, and Xiahong. Now that I've gotten it, you guys plan to snatch it from me? Dream on! Yin Kai laughed coldly. As he waved his arms, there was a vague impression of green wings flashing by. Whoosh! A fierce gale was stirred up. Yin Kai rose over 10 meters into the air and flew towards an entrance that was high above him. Yin Kai had planned it all out. With the advantage of his blood meridian, he would snatch the point-worthy metal piece, lure out the experts from the 3 other halls, then leap up into an entrance 10 meters above their heads to escape. Those tunnels were tangled and complicated. If he fled into one of them, the others could forget about tracking him down. His plan was good. Nonetheless, Lu Ming just so happened to be waiting in that direction. Therefore, without a second thought, Lu Ming leaped down and slashed his sword towards Yin Kai. At Lu Ming's sudden appearance, Yin Kai yelped in shock and quickly drew his sword up. Lu Ming? Scram! Clang! The 2 swords clashed, sending out a burst of energy. Yin Kai's cultivation was on the 4th grade master realm, so he had significant strength. Lu Ming was swept upwards by a large impact, but since he was attacking from the high ground and was not that weak either, Yin Kai immediately dropped down from the attack. At this point, Duanmuju, Huangyu, and the rest hurried over. Yin Kai, hand over the metal piece, or you won't get out alive. Duanmuju coldly huffed, his eyes burning lethally. Formidable attacks instantly rained down upon Yin Kai. Lu Ming, I won't rest until you're dead. Yin Kai bellowed in fury. Save your own skin first. Lu Ming landed by one side and smiled breezily. Hand over the 500-point metal piece. Duanmuju, Huangyu, Xiahong were all 4th grade masters. There were also other experts at 3rd grade master realm. Yin Kai could not hold on to the metal piece at all. All of the attacks were directed at the 500-point metal piece he was holding. If he did not let go, his hand would be crushed. Helplessly he released his grip. The metal piece is mine. Get away. Huangyu, you dare to act against the Duanmu family. Duanmuju yelled a few times. Duanmuju, you can stop using the Duanmu family to scare me. Other people might be afraid, but I'm not. Huangyu grinned coldly. The place was instantly caught up in a chaotic battle. Everyone wanted the metal piece and was struggling for it with their full strength. Essential chi erupted, and the metal piece bounced and danced amongst the midst of all this. For a moment, no one could seem to grab it. Zing! Just then Lu Ming suddenly perceived a subtle slicing sound behind him. A mighty blow was directed towards his back. Someone was attacking him in stealth. Swoosh! At the crucial moment, Lu Ming twisted his body to one side, evading the attack by a hair's breadth. Lu Ming whipped his head around, and his eyes glinted coldly. Yuan Lang, you're begging to die. The one who had sneaked up on him was Yuan Lang. The dead one will be you. Yesterday I didn't explode my blood meridian. Let's see if you're still a match for me this time. Yuan Lang's murderous aura surged out as he spoke. Following that, there was a bloody flash as his blood meridian exploded. He barreled towards Lu Ming mercilessly. Slash slash. The icy metal claws stirred up a vigorous gale as he swiped at Lu Ming. His power was even greater than yesterday. Lu Ming did not waste time with words and wielded the lustrous sword technique. Instantly, he had created more than 10 arcs of sword light. Clang! Clang! The exchange of blows rang out in succession. As soon as they fought, Yuan Lang's expression changed, because he found out that the strength of Lu Ming's strikes was greater than yesterday. Could it be that Lu Ming's cultivation had broken through in less than a day? That was impossible. Yuan Lang dismissed that thought. Lu Ming must have hidden his capabilities yesterday. He started to consider giving up. However, the light trembled on Lu Ming's blade. One of Yuan Lang's arms turned numb and he took 2 steps back. Swish! There was a burst of sword light, more dazzling than usual, piercing straight into Yuan Lang's abdomen. Lu Ming, don't kill me! Yuan Lang shrieked in alarm. I told you yesterday that there won't be a second chance. Lu Ming spoke coldly. Then he cut Yuan Lang's throat in one move and threw him backward. The direction where Yuan Lang fell was the battlefield where Duanmuju and the rest were fighting for the 500-point metal piece. With blades flashing all over the place, one was sure to end up as a severed corpse after being thrown out like that. Arr! Yuan Lang screamed in terror. After Lu Ming stabbed his abdomen, he still had not died. To survive, he had to unleash his full strength. His body burst out in blinding red light as his hands kept on clawing the air. Scram! Die! Duanmuju and the rest yelled angrily, delivering their attacks without hesitation. PFFF hiss. In the blink of an eye, Yuan Lang was sliced apart. His blood and flesh splattered everywhere. Even in his struggle against death, he blocked all of them for an instant. This was the instant that Lu Ming was waiting for. Without any hesitation, he dashed out. His dragon serpent steps unleashed his greatest might. In one step, he covered 20 meters. Swoosh! Lu Ming was like a streak of lightning as he leaped over the fight between Yin Kai and the rest. In one smooth grab, he captured the 500-point metal piece. Lu Ming, it's you. Hand over the metal piece to me and I'll spare your life. Yin Kai snarled in rage. Lu Ming, I know you. You dared to kill an apprentice from the Duanmu family. Give me the metal piece, and I'll plead with the adults on your behalf to reduce your punishment. Duanmuju hollered as well. All at once, the attacks were aimed at Lu Ming. With so many experts, he could not possibly resist them stubbornly. He took another step and raced forward by another 20 meters. The mutated black-scaled monitor lizard was lying in that direction. Presently, Lu Ming was only about 30 meters away from it. Behind him, Duanmuju, Yin Kai, and the rest joined forces and closed in around Lu Ming. Lu Ming, you can't run. Someone like you wants to seize the point-worthy metal piece? How hilarious. You'll die today. Yin Kai's eyes glimmered with a bloodthirsty expression. If it were not for Lu Ming, he would have obtained the point-worthy metal piece and left this place, essentially becoming this year's apprentice champion. However, all his dreams had turned to dust, thanks to Lu Ming. His hatred towards Lu Ming ran deep in his bones. Lu Ming, hand the metal piece to me. I can safeguard your life. Huang Yu cried out. At the same time, they kept on cornering Lu Ming while he withdrew further backward. Soon, he was only a few meters away from the mutated black-scaled monitor lizard. Chapter 44. Chapter 44. acquiring the metal piece. Currently, the eyes of the mutated black-scaled monitor lizard were narrowed into slits. It was almost asleep. Otherwise, it would not just have sat there indifferently throughout their intense battle. Moreover, there was no entrance on the wall next to the black-scaled monitor lizard. There was nowhere to run. Oh, Lu Ming, you have no escape route. Duanmuju and the rest closed in slowly. If they were not being apprehensive of the black-scaled monitor lizard, they would have already attacked him. Is that so? Are you guys that confident? At this stage, Lu Ming actually beamed. How could he still smile? However, soon enough Duanmuju, Yinkai, and the rest understood why. Lu Ming turned around abruptly and dashed towards the mutated black-scaled monitor lizard. The sword light whistled through the air, ruthlessly piercing towards the black-scaled monitor lizard. Lu Ming, what are you doing? Stop. Stop right now. You're asking for it. Duanmuju and the rest changed their tones quickly, each of them yelling in fury. Even so, Lu Ming's sword light did not stop. The long sword viciously stabbed the mutated black-scaled monitor lizard's body. Roar! As the long sword penetrated its body, the mutated black-scaled monitor lizard gave an incensed howl and its eyes flew open. One more slash. Lu Ming pulled out the long sword, drawing a gush of blood. Then he stabbed once more. This time the black-scaled monitor lizard was fully awake. It roared in rage and swiped its massive claw at him. Lu Ming used the dragon serpent steps to dodge the black-scaled monitor lizard's attack. After that, he ran towards Duanmuju, Yinkai, and the rest. Roar! The mutated black-scaled monitor lizard bellowed deafeningly as it scampered madly towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming, Duanmuju, Yinkai, and the rest all cried out in anger, but they could only turn around and flee helplessly. The strongest of them was only on the 4th grade master realm. Even with all their strength combined, it was not enough to kill the mutated black-scaled monitor lizard. Why are you guys running? Weren't you about to kill me? Lu Ming's taunting voice rang out. Duanmuju and the rest nearly coughed up blood in rage. They silently vowed to never forgive Lu Ming. Like birds startled by an arrow, they dared not linger in this cavern. Each of them rushed towards a cave entrance. Ha ha, bye-bye. Lu Ming stepped off the ground firmly and sprang into the air. He immediately landed at an entrance 10 meters above the ground and hurriedly raced away. After running helter-skelter, he covered over a kilometer of the tunnel in a single sprint. Only then did Lu Ming sit down to rest. He thought of something and took out the point-worthy metal piece. This metal piece was made of a different material compared to the other point-worthy metal pieces. It was dark golden and very solid. On its surface were 2 large golden words, 500. With these 500 points, in addition to his previous 124 points, Lu Ming had 624 points in total. 624 points. Is that enough or not? Lu Ming started to ponder silently. It was hard to say. For instance, Duanmuju, Yinkai, and the rest had gathered so many people. Some of them had only kept 10 points and gave the remaining point-worthy metal pieces to Duanmuju and the rest. In that case, it was hard to estimate how many points they had, so collecting 500 or 600 points was a possibility. There are still 2 more days. Perhaps I can rustle up some points from the Duanmu family or Yinkai's group. A smirk tugged at Lu Ming's lips. Just then, frenzied footsteps sounded behind him. They were very agile. In the blink of an eye, a few figures appeared before Lu Ming. Duanmuju. Lu Ming sized them up. The center one amongst the trio was Duanmuju. The other 2 beside him were genius apprentices of the White Tiger Hall with their cultivation levels at the 3rd grade master realm. Upon seeing Lu Ming, Duanmuju did not seem surprised as he broke out into a humorless smile. Lu Ming, you're here indeed. How are you going to run now? How did you find me? Lu Ming asked in astonishment. I might as well tell you. My blood meridian is the keen spirit hound. With me around you can't escape, a short youth beside Duanmuju spoke up. So you've got a dog's nose. Lu Ming realized the truth. Lu Ming, I didn't hunt you down, yet you dared to seize my point-worthy metal piece. You've got some guts. Now hand over the metal piece and I'll go easy on you, Duanmuju said. Lu Ming smirked. Does everyone from the Duanmu family have such blind confidence? I truly wonder how you guys became the #1 family in the White Tiger Hall. Are you saying you won't hand it over? I'll show you how my Duanmu family became the #1 family. Flying Tiger Sword. Kill. With that, Duanmuju pounced at Lu Ming. Sword chi surged out, and there was a faint tiger's roar. Clang! Lu Ming drew his sword to return the strike. Clang! Clang! Both their long swords clashed furiously. The space in the cave tunnel was narrow, so there was not much room for fighting poses. They could only fight directly face to face with brute force. Their swords collided a few times. Lu Ming felt his arm getting tired, and he involuntarily took 3 steps back. Meanwhile, Duanmuju's body was only heaving slightly. A 4th grade master has such powerful strength. My current strength can't match his at all. Lu Ming thought to himself. Your sword technique isn't bad, but it's a shame you're too weak. Die then. Flying Tiger Pounce. Duanmuju grinned coldly and sent his blade slicing towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming had the impression that a ferocious tiger was lunging at him. The Flying Tiger Sword technique was a superior yellow-level technique. Duanmuju had already cultivated it to the 3rd stage, and his moves were quick and ruthless. Since I'm no match in terms of strength, I'll use speed then. Lu Ming focused his concentration, fully immersed in the lustrous sword technique. Swoosh swoosh. One sword light after another lashed out, striking towards Duanmuju's vital points. Its speed was definitely much faster than Duanmuju's. Duanmuju could only give up attacking and use his strength to block Lu Ming's sword light. So what if your sword technique is fast? If force won't work, I'll attack until you can't hold your sword. Duanmuju weaved his long sword in an impenetrable pattern, clashing incessantly against Lu Ming's long sword. Waves of powerful essential chi kept flowing out, battering against Lu Ming. Is that so? What if I speed up? Now a faint smirk appeared on Lu Ming's mouth. His blade flashed and his technique became even swifter. Like the flow of a river, the sword light cascaded unendingly towards Duanmuju. His lustrous sword technique had just broken through. Before this, his lustrous sword technique had been stuck at the 4th stage and he had been unable to break through. Nevertheless, in this fight against Duanmuju, the lustrous sword technique broke through to the 5th stage to achieve perfect divine-like usage in one move. Duanmuju's expression changed. Just now, he could barely maintain his defense. Currently, he discovered that he could not withstand this barrage of assaults at all. Swoosh! Lu Ming's glinting sword light instantly penetrated his defense, slashing towards his chest. Retreat, retreat, retreat! Duanmuju was startled and withdrew frantically. Even so, he was a little too late. Slash! Lu Ming's sword light immediately left a deep bloody gash across his chest. Duanmuju was drenched in cold sweat. If he had not retreated quickly enough, he would have been dead already. Attack! Attack together and kill him! Duanmuju roared in anger. Kill! As the other 2 youths and Duanmuju charged at Lu Ming together, their 3 spiritual weapons erupted with formidable sword chi. Chapter 45. Chapter 45 Slaying Duanmuju. Come on then. Facing the joint attack from those 3, Lu Ming grinned and did not back down. Instead, he rushed forward like the wind. You're asking for it. Oh, die. The 3 of them huffed maliciously, each wielding their best technique. Their long swords surged with sword chi, carving through the air and emitting an ear-splitting whistle. The sword chi converged upon Lu Ming. Just then, Lu Ming's body glimmered bloodily and his blood meridian exploded. Immediately he twisted his body to evade the sharp tips of their swords, ignoring their sword chi. Die then. Duanmuju and the other 2 had icy, murderous expressions in their eyes. Duanmuju, in particular, broke out into a satisfied smirk, as if the 500-point metal piece was already in his hands. Still, in the next moment, his expression transformed because he sensed that when his sword chi landed on Lu Ming's body, it was like cutting through a bottomless abyss. Instantly, his hair stood on end, and a frosty, savage aura enveloped him. Retreat, retreat now, he howled in his heart. However, it was too late. A beam of sword light appeared like a celestial angel, impaling his throat. A fountain of blood spurted out while Duanmuju choked out an animalistic howl with both hands grasping at his throat as he fell back. Nonetheless, after a few steps backward, he collapsed to the ground. In one slash, Lu Ming pierced through Duanmuju. He drew out his sword smoothly and cut the throat of the other youth. Swiftly, Lu Ming had exploited the uniqueness of his blood meridian to quickly slay two experts. There was only one person left. The final youth felt stifled in a cloud of death. He was scared witless and recoiled in wild panic. Still, how could he be as fast as Lu Ming? Lu Ming caught up with him in a few steps. After a few moves, the guy was biting Duanmuju's dust. Lu Ming slayed Duanmuju's group of 3. This time I'm really unscathed. That's much better than the last time. Lu Ming checked himself all over and thought to himself. His blood meridian had devoured 50% of the sword chi from Duanmuju and the rest. The remaining half was mostly blocked by his protective essential chi, so Lu Ming was not harmed much. Of course, this was also thanks to the cultivation level of Duanmuju and the other two. Duanmuju's cultivation was on the 4th grade master realm, only 2 stages above Lu Ming. If he was 3 stages, 4 or even 5 stages above Lu Ming, the end result would be different. Although Lu Ming could also devour 50% of the attack impact, the remaining 50% would be enough to grievously injure or even kill him. Let me see how many point-worthy metal pieces Duanmuju has gathered. Lu Ming frisked Duanmuju's body but did not even find a single metal piece. How could this be? How could Duanmuju not even have a single point-worthy metal piece? No, he must have a storage ring. Lu Ming's eyes lit up as he examined Duanmuju's fingers. As expected, he spotted a ring. After he took the ring off, Lu Ming sent his consciousness into the ring. In the next moment, a space popped up in his mind. It was not large, with a volume of around 1 cubic meter. It was lacking by leaps and bounds compared to the Supreme Shrine. This was the space within the storage ring. In this space, there was a pile of point-worthy metal pieces, a stack of Asilavira notes, and some clothes. Lu Ming did not take inventory. After that, he gathered a pile of point-worthy metal pieces from the other 2 bodies. Along with the storage ring, these were all kept within the Supreme Shrine. Following that, he devoured their blood essences before his figure darted off and left. In a short while, he could see the first entrance of the cave. There was still a large crowd standing guard, but Yin Kai, Huang Yu, and the rest had not come out yet. Lu Ming promptly charged out and scaled a large tree nearby. He did not look for Feng Wu at once. Instead, he decided to cultivate the blood essence of Duanmuju's group first and take stock of his harvest before joining her. Lu Ming sat cross-legged between the branches of the tree and began to cultivate. The vital energy contained within the blood essence of a 4th grade and 2 3rd grade masters was refined and abundant. This was something 1st grade or 2nd grade masters could not compare to. Lu Ming's cultivation swiftly advanced. From peak mid-2nd grade master realm to top 2nd grade master realm until finally, after processing all of their blood essences, Lu Ming broke through in one step, reaching the 3rd grade master realm. Even so, the level of his blood meridian still did not progress. Upon the spirit-devouring worm blood meridian, the 3 blood-red meridian focal points were incomparably deep. Evidently, they were reaching their limit, but they just had not leveled up to become a 4th level blood meridian. Can my blood meridian only reach the 3rd level at most? Lu Ming thought, frowning. Forget it. I'll just continue to consume blood essence. I don't believe it can't advance any further. Following that, Lu Ming took out Duanmuju's storage ring and started to take stock. The combined points from the 2 3rd grade master realm use were 130 points. Still, Duanmuju had the most with an incredible 520 points. Indeed, he had assembled so many people by his side, so his points were impressive, exceeding 500 points. Right then, Lu Ming had collected an awesome 1,224 points. With points like these, surely first place was in the bag. Lu Ming did not believe anyone else could surpass his score. Moreover, there were over 80,000 Asilavira notes in Duanmuju's storage ring. That was an unexpected loot. Duanmuju was truly a prodigy from the Duanmu family. His background was astounding. Putting the rest aside, Even the storage ring itself would cost at least 100,000 taels of Asilavir. Even then, its demand exceeded its supply, and that was a conservative estimate. After taking inventory, Lu Ming's figure flashed and he arrived at the meeting place that he and Feng Wu had agreed upon. When Feng Wu saw him, she asked hurriedly, "Lu Ming, you're already out. How's the situation?" "Splendid." Lu Ming smiled gently. Feng Wu's pretty eyes shone. "Lu Ming, is the 500-point metal piece in your possession?" "Of course. Otherwise, wouldn't I have wasted a trip?" He grinned, brimming with confidence. "Oh, you devil. You've actually obtained the 500-point metal piece. It looks like you've made a fool of Yin Kai, Duanmuju, and the rest." Feng Wu exclaimed and stared at him, her eyes wide with matchless surprise. "Let's go." Both of them turned to leave, disappearing in the woods. Soon enough, 2 days passed. The 20 days of the test were up. A lot of people had gathered outside the Midnight Hills, including Xie Kuang and the other guidance elders of the 4 halls, as well as a few Silavira-robed elders. In addition to that, there were attendants from various halls who were tasked with tallying the points. Other than these people, there were also many youths who were the senior apprentices of the 4 halls. Every year, the new apprentices who just joined would receive extra attention, because new blood represented the future, as well as endless possibilities. The guidance elders of the 4 halls stood in front. At the moment, the elder from the White Tiger Hall was asking the other 3, "In your opinion, how many will qualify this year?" The guidance elder from the White Tiger Hall was a short, stout middle-aged man named Duanmu Jin. He was from the Duanmu family. Chapter 46. Chapter 46. Who's the apprentice champion? There are a total of 13,000 points. Technically, 1,300 people should pass, but in reality, it's impossible to have so many people passing. The Azure Dragon Hall Guidance Elder added, "I'm sure that some point-worthy metal pieces will remain unfound, and while some people get higher points, some might not even have 10 points. So, I'll consider 500 passes a decent amount." "Oh, I estimate around 500 people passing too." Xie Kuang nodded. "It's always been around this number according to my experience. I'm curious though, who'll be the apprentice champion this year?" The Onyx Tortoise Hall Guidance Elder asked. "Heh, Duanmuju or Duanmu Genius, of course." Duanmu Jin replied smugly. "You're in over your head, Duanmu Jin. Our Huang Yu's exceptionally talented with an awakened 5th level Blood Meridian and 4th grade Master Realm cultivation level. He's just as good as Duanmuju, so I think he's going to be the apprentice champion," the Azure Dragon Hall Guidance Elder rebutted. "Our Xiahong may be a girl, but she's on par with your geniuses in terms of blood meridians and cultivation too, so she just might win this," the Onyx Tortoise Hall Guidance Elder boasted. "That might not be the case since our Inkai's one of the very best too. The Vermilion Bird Hall will emerge as champion this year." Xie Kuang chirped. Duanmu Jin patted his pot belly as he scorned, "Huang Yu and the rest of them might be kinda good, but Duanmuju's still better. Besides, Xie Kuang, the Vermilion Bird Hall hasn't won the past 8 years, so this year is just as impossible for you. Stop daydreaming." Xie Kuang's face sank as he barked. "What's the meaning of this, fatty Duanmu? Are you looking down on us, Vermilion Bird Hall?" "Yes, so what if I'm looking down on you? You actually expect your bunch of trash to be the apprentice champion? Impossible. If you remain unconvinced, let's bet on it." Duanmu Jin scoffed. "Damn it, I'm not afraid of you. Let's bet on it, fatty Duanmu." "Name your wager," Xie Kuang replied. Duanmu Jin's eyes flashed with excitement as he stated, "I bet 30 spiritual crystals on the White Tiger Hall winning. How's that for a bet?" "What? 30 spiritual crystals?" Xie Kuang yelled in surprise. Spiritual crystals were formed by the condensation of highly concentrated spiritual energy. It was extremely precious and only martial artists beyond the Grandmaster realm could use it to cultivate. The market price for a single spiritual crystal was 10,000 taels of Asilavir, so 30 spiritual crystals were equivalent to 300,000 taels of Asilavir. It was an extremely expensive bet. "What's wrong, Xie Kuang? Chickened out? Too expensive for you?" Duanmu Jin jeered. "Damn it. Xie Kuang gritted his teeth and snapped, "Bets on Duanmu Jin. Don't act dumb and forget about our bet later. I should be more afraid of you bailing out on me." Duanmu Jin smiled coldly. "The apprentices are coming out now," the Azure Dragon Hall Guidance Elder interrupted. A few youths exited the Midnight Hills. "They're from the Vermilion Bird Hall. They came out so quickly, huh? I wonder how many points they have," Duanmu Jin mocked. Xie Kuang's face darkened as he asked the apprentices, "How many points do you have? Bring them all out and have them counted." "And not much." Flustered, a young man took out 2 one-point metal pieces while the others had none. That was all they had. "Ha ha ha, only 2 points for the entire bunch. What a huge harvest." Duanmu Jin guffawed. The other 2 guidance elders had mocking smiles on their faces. The competition was fierce among the 4 halls, so the worse the other hall was, the better it was for them. Xie Kuang's face darkened venomously. More apprentices exited the Midnight Hills, but the passing rate was at a low of 10 to 1. Those that failed hung their head in disappointment while those who passed skipped with delight. Naturally, the White Tiger Hall had the most number of passes out of the 4 halls for now. The Azure Dragon Hall came in second, whereas the Onyx Tortoise Hall came in third. The Vermilion Bird Hall came in last, like how it had been for the past years. While Duanmu Jin beamed, Xie Kuang fumed. A voice rang out clearly. "Xie Hong's out." Xie Hong, the Onyx Tortoise Hall's number 1 expert, exited the Midnight Hills with a gloomy expression. "Heh. Looks like Xie Hong's results aren't as good as expected, huh?" Duanmu Jin gloated as the face of the Onyx Tortoise Hall Guidance Elder darkened by a shade. Xie Hong accumulated up to 509 points. "It's not too bad, but without the 500-point metal piece, it's hard to win with this amount," the Azure Dragon Hall Guidance Elder commented. "Well, if the 500-point metal piece remains untouched, Honger could win with 509 points, the Onyx Tortoise Hall Guidance Elder added forcefully. "Someone has taken the 500-point metal piece," Xie Hong said abruptly. "What? Who has it?" All 4 guidance elders blurted out. Whoever had the 500-point metal piece could win, hence their concern. Xie Hong shook her head quietly. Initially Lu Ming had it, but Duanmu Ju, Yin Kai, Huang Yu, and the rest of them hunted and chased after him. A few days had passed and Xie Hong really had no idea who held the 500-point metal piece now. The eyes of all 4 guidance elders flickered as they debated on who the possible apprentice champion was. Yin Kai's out. Huang Yu too. Xie Kuang's heart skipped a beat as he hurried towards the apprentices. Both Yin Kai and Huang Yu exited Midnight Hills with their troops. "Go ahead, Yin Kai, have your points counted first," Huang Yu said to Yin Kai. Yin Kai waved his hands with a stormy expression as a pile of point-worthy metal pieces appeared out of thin air. As expensive as storage rings were, geniuses like the likes of him could still afford them. 496 points. Yin Kai had a total of 496 points, which was lesser than Xie Hong. "Haha, it looks like I'll be 30 spiritual crystals richer now, Xie Kuang." Yin Kai has less points than Xie Hong, so it's impossible for him to get first place now. Duanmu Jin chuckled. "Don't count your chickens before they hatch, Duanmu Jin. Even if Yin Kai has lost, Duanmu Ju still might not win," Xie Kuang refuted. "Oh really? It doesn't matter anyway since I'm still unbeatable as of now. Even if Duanmu Ju doesn't win, I'm not the one losing," Duanmu Jin jeered. At the same time, Yin Kai's face twisted in rage as he roared in his heart, "Lu Ming. I hope Duanmu Ju took the 500-point metal piece away from you." He would rather lose to Duanmu Ju than have Lu Ming win first prize. At that moment, Lu Ming and Feng Wu exited the Midnight Hills. Chapter 47. Chapter 47 Counting Points. When Lu Ming and Feng Wu walked out, no one paid them any attention. All they got was a glance from the guidance elders and senior apprentices. 3 out of 4 number 1 geniuses were out from the Midnight Hills, and everyone else was mostly waiting for Duanmu Ju. Only a small number of people kept their attention locked on Lu Ming, and they were those who participated in the 500-point metal piece fight. Yin Kai's eyes blazed. "You survived, Lu Ming? How did you manage to evade Duanmu Ju?" Yin Kai's eyes bore into Lu Ming as he asked. Huh. What Yin Kai said caught everyone by surprise. According to his tone, was Lu Ming actually somebody? Why? Are you disappointed that I'm still alive? Lu Ming sneered. From the side, Huang Yu asked with a stern voice, since you evaded Duanmuju, does it mean that the 500-point metal piece is still with you? What? Huang Yu's words dropped like a bombshell. All eyes were on Lu Ming and they were filled with questions and confusion, especially the 4 guidance elders. Who's this Lu Ming? I've never heard that name before. How did the 500-point metal piece end up with him? How's this possible? Many of them were in disbelief. Of course, didn't you see it the last time? With a faint smile, Lu Ming waved his hand and a violet gold metal piece appeared in his hand. That was precisely the 500-point metal piece, and it was the only thing everyone was focused on at that instant. Is that really the 500-point metal piece? Who exactly is this Lu Ming? He actually has the 500-point metal piece. Is he the new apprentice champion? Chaos erupted as shock set in. Ha ha ha, this is awesome. Good one, Lu Ming. Xie Kuang howled in laughter as he recovered from the shock. He was ecstatic. When Yin Kai came back with only 400 points, Xie Kuang thought that the Vermilion Bird Hall was about to wave the apprentice champion title goodbye yet again. Besides losing 30 spiritual crystals to Duanmujin, he would also have to endure the latter's relentless taunting. Now that Lu Ming had the 500-point metal piece, it reignited hope within Xie Kuang. Lu Ming. It's Lu Ming again. Could none of our Duanmu experts kill this Lu Ming? Duanmujin was shocked to the core as he stared incredulously at Lu Ming. When he finally came back to his senses, he scoffed, "What are you so gleeful about, Xie Kuang? Maybe Lu Ming's just lucky enough to get the 500-point metal piece by chance. That's probably all he has. Do you think he could win with just the 500-point metal piece alone?" "We'll find out after we count his points," Xie Kuang replied. "Did you think you could beat me with a mere 500-point metal piece? Look carefully," Huang Yu said coldly as a pile of point-worthy metal pieces appeared on the counter with a wave. That much. Everyone's gazes froze when they realized that Huang Yu's pile was a lot bigger than Xie Hong's. 706 points. Huang Yu had a whopping 706 points. Gasp. Sharp inhales spread across the area. Huang Yu's gotten 706 points. That's crazy. He managed to get points like that even without the 500-point metal piece. Who's to say he won't be the apprentice champion? Not bad. No one has heard of this Lu Ming previously, so I don't think he's from an aristocratic family. With no one to collect points for him, it's impossible for him to get more than 200 points. Everyone was talking about it. Great. The guidance elder of the Azure Dragon Hall laughed gleefully. Heh. Duanmujin snickered and said, "Xie Kuang, so what if Lu Ming's gotten the 500-point metal piece? I told you celebrated too early. If a piece of trash was fortunate enough to get only the 500-point metal piece, he still can't win anyway." "Huff, let's see then." Xie Kuang huffed coldly, but deep down he was very uncertain. Xie Kuang knew about most of Vermilion Bird Hall's new apprentices, but he has never heard of Lu Ming's name. Lu Ming casually looked at all that was happening with a faint smile on his face. He was oddly calm as he made his way to the counter. Lu Ming looked at Huang Yu and said nonchalantly, "Observe carefully then, if that's what you want to do." In a wave, a big pile of point-worthy metal pieces came tumbling down onto the counter. From the looks of the pile, it seemed a lot bigger than Huang Yu's pile. So much. Eyes popped out of their sockets and some people nearly bit their tongues as they gawked at the pile of point-worthy metal pieces on the counter. Feng Wu, who was with Lu Ming most of the time, gaped soundlessly. She certainly did not expect Lu Ming to have that many point-worthy metal pieces. When did that happen? "Marshal uncle, could you help me out with the counting please?" Lu Ming prompted the person in charge of the point counting since he was still in shock. The person in charge came back to his senses and started to count. With 724 points, in addition to the 500-point metal piece, Lu Ming had 1,224 points in total. Lu Ming had not scavenged for more point-worthy metal pieces in the last 2 days. Instead, he spent most of his time cultivating so that his cultivation had a firmer base. His jaw-dropping 1,224 points stunned everyone with their mouths agape. This was mind-blowing. Even without the 500-point metal piece, Lu Ming still had more points than Huang Yu. With points like this, Lu Ming was undoubtedly the apprentice champion. How's that possible? How can it be? I had the whole Azure Dragon Hall collecting points for me, and I spent quite a fortune getting points from some others as well. How did Lu Ming get so many points? Huang Yu roared in anguish in his head. Damn it! Yin Kai clenched his fists tightly in frustration. Ha ha ha! I told you to wait for the official count, Duanmu Jin. It's crystal clear now, isn't it? Xie Kuang was on cloud 9 as he guffawed and his hand stroked his beard continuously. As he fixed his gaze on Lu Ming, he suddenly felt that the latter was such an adorable person. Xie Kuang, Lu Ming. Duanmu Jin clenched his jaws so tightly that his teeth started grinding against each other noisily. Oh, also 30 spiritual crystals please, Duanmu Jin. Xie Kuang added. Hold your horses. Not everyone's out yet. Are Duanmuju's still making his way out? How sure are you that Lu Ming's won? Duanmu Jin selfishly hoped for Duanmuju to create a miracle. Elder Jin, something bad's happened. A loud voice rang out from within the midnight woods as a dozen figures rushed out. They were the young experts of the Duanmu family. What's going on? What's the rush? As a member of the Duanmu family and the mystical sword sect, you've got to keep calm no matter what happened, understand? Duanmu Jin's face darkened as he reprimanded the young Duanmu experts. Where's Duanmuju? Why didn't he come out with you? Chapter 48. Chapter 48. The Desperate Duanmu Family. Something's happened, Elder Jin. Duanmuju is dead. One of the Duanmu youths reported fearfully. What? Duanmu Jin froze. His eyes widened as he let out a small cry. How could he have remained calm? Oh! Everyone who heard the news was startled. The other three guidance elders had a slight change in expression. A look of joy flitted across Xie Kuang's face. Duanmuju was actually dead? How did he die? Yin Kai, Huang Yu, and some others could not help but look pointedly at Lu Ming. Where did Lu Ming's points come from? Judging by the amount, it was impossible for him to have killed all those demonic beasts alone. Could it be from Duanmuju? Speak. How did Duanmuju die? Duanmu Jin ordered maliciously. A slit across the throat with a sword, said a young man. A slit across the throat with a sword. Who did it? Cold killing intent erupted from Duanmu Jin. We don't know. When we found Duanmu Jin's trail and followed it, he was already dead. We also found two other bodies with him. They were the White Tiger Hall's third-grade Master Realm apprentices. What? Don't you know who did it? Killing intent flickered in Duanmu Jin's eyes. He abruptly turned to face Lu Ming as he barked. Speak, Lu Ming. Did you kill Duanmuju? Before Lu Ming could answer, Xie Kuang retorted with a roar. Duanmu Jin. What's the meaning of this? Elder Duanmu, did you even see me kill Duanmuju? Also, you heard him. There were two other third-grade Master Realm experts with him. Did you really think I could kill him? Lu Ming answered with a faint smile. Many pondered upon Lu Ming's words. That's true. Does Lu Ming even have the skills to kill Duanmuju and the two other third-grade Master Realm experts? Impossible. Duanmu Jin scoffed. How do you explain the amount of point-worthy metal pieces in your possession? You must have killed Duanmuju with some kind of despicable trick. I'll destroy you right now, you shameless, filthy prick. Boom! As he took a stride, a formidable aura erupted from Duanmu Jin, pressing against Lu Ming like a lofty mountain. The crushing weight was too strong for Lu Ming to handle. He felt like a mountain had slammed into him and his body shook as he was forced backward. Blood threatened to spew out from his mouth. What are you doing, Duanmu Jin? Xie Kuang raged as he hid Lu Ming behind him. An equally formidable aura exploded from him, shielding Lu Ming from Duanmu Jin's aura. Piss off, Xie Kuang. Duanmu Jin bellowed. Fatty Duanmu, do you have fats for a fucking brain? In the mystical sword sect, winners have always taken it all. Which rule calls for an explanation of the source of the point-worthy metal pieces? Did you live all these fucking years as a dog? Fury rose from within Lu Ming as he berated. He refused to be bullied. What dash? It was once again a jaw-dropping moment for everyone present. How reckless of Lu Ming to dare yell at Duan Mujin in public like that. Sure enough, Duan Mujin was so mad that he shook uncontrollably. He raised his arm and pointed at Lu Ming. You little bastard, what did you just say? Great, you're deaf too. Guess you really did live a fucking dog life. Lu Ming pursed his lips. I'll kill you, you little bastard. Duan Mujin's eyes glowed a frenzy red as he threw a punch at Lu Ming. Stay where you are. Xie Kuang's fist collided with Duan Mujin's. Boom! Both Xie Kuang and Duan Mujin staggered backward from the blast. Piss off, Xie Kuang, or I'll kill you as well. Duan Mujin yelled. I was afraid that you can't. Xie Kuang refused to budge. Boom! Just then, immense pressure came from the skies. The pressure was so great that it felt as if it had unfathomable depths like the ocean, paralyzing both Xie Kuang and Duan Mujin. Silavira-robed elder. Both of them gasped. In the skies, a displeased elderly man hovered over them and rebuked, Absurd, both of you. Shamelessly fighting to the death in front of all the apprentices as guidance elders. For what? To be ridiculed by the younger generation? Elder Wang Lu Ming used despicable methods to kill Duan Muju and the rest. He cannot go unpunished. I suggest stripping him of his apprentice champion title. Duan Mujin cupped his fists towards the Silavira-robed elder as he spoke. I'm gonna say the same to you, Duan Mujin. Did you see me kill Duan Muju and the rest in despicable ways? And you tell me that you haven't fucking lived as a dog. Since Lu Ming was already an arch-nemesis with the Duanmu family, he said whatever he wanted and insulted Duan Mujin without any restraint. He was sure that Xie Kuang and the Silavira-robed elder would not let anything happen to him. How dare you, insolent fool! You have no respect for the elders. Duan Mujin howled, his prosperous body trembling with unconstrained fury. He was outraged. All he wanted was to pound Lu Ming into a meatloaf. You and your yelling, Duan Mujin. Just spit it out. You're weaseling out. All it took was 30 spiritual crystals for you to accuse and trample over a new genius apprentice. That's certainly a first for me. Xie Kuang took the chance to mock him. You. Furious and flustered, Duan Mujin nearly vomited blood as his chest rose up and down rapidly. Everyone else stared with their mouths wide open nearby. Geniuses like Huang Yu and Xie Hong saw Lu Ming in a different light. While they had remarkable backgrounds, even they had no courage to yell at a Duanmu elder in public like that. Lu Ming was flaunting such lawlessness. Duan Mujin took a few deep breaths in an attempt to calm down as he cupped his fist towards the Silavira-robed elder once more and said, Elder Wang, I'm sure Lu Ming used despicable methods to gather such an amount of point-worthy metal pieces. If he's allowed to win the first prize like that, I'm afraid it'll be hard to convince the other new apprentices. I suggest that we test his abilities. If he passes, I'll acknowledge him as the apprentice champion. No way, Elder Wang. The new apprentice test has always used points to determine placings, and there have never been any restrictions on how the points are obtained, Xie Kuang objected hurriedly. Duan Mujin scoffed, Don't you forget, Xie Kuang. All the previous apprentice champions were publicly recognized for their abilities. Even those who were fortunate were proven to be capable. But this Lu Ming, where's he from? What's he capable of? His words were laced thick with disdain. Oh, how would you like to test him, Duan Mujin? The Silavira-robed elder pondered. Very simple. Come on out, Duan Mutao, Duan Mujin ordered with a wave. Immediately, a young man stepped out from where the old apprentices were. Duan Mujin pointed at that young man and said, This time, the strongest cultivation level among the new apprentices is the 4th grade master realm, which is exactly Duan Mutao's cultivation level. If Lu Ming beats Duan Mutao, I'll acknowledge his apprentice champion title. If not, I suggest that Lu Ming be stripped of his first placing. Xie Kuang's expression changed. I object. Duan Mutao is a third-year apprentice. Even if his cultivation's on the 4th grade master realm, it's not fair for a new apprentice to fight someone who's trained for 3 years. If you don't have what it takes, just say it out loud. The apprentice champion title isn't as attainable as you think it is, Duanmu Jin replied coldly. All right, I'll do it, Lu Ming agreed all of a sudden. Chapter 49. Chapter 49. Watch out or you're gonna get hurt. Lu Ming stepped out with a faint smile on his face. Xie Kuang's expression changed again as he urged, Don't be rash, Lu Ming. Oh. The Vermilion Bird Hall finally won the apprentice champion this year round. So Xie Kuang was expecting a tremendous boost in popularity and better allocation of resources from the mystical sword sex management. He simply could not allow Lu Ming to throw the first place away so rashly. Lu Ming smiled and told Xie Kuang, Don't worry, Elder Xie. Just a mere Duanmu disciple with slightly longer cultivation time, that's all. So what? He then turned to Duanmu Jin and confirmed, I accept the challenge, Duanmu Jin. Good. Duanmu Jin was flooded with euphoria when he saw how Lu Ming accepted his challenge. He cupped his fists towards the silver-robed elder once more and said, Elder Wang, Lu Ming himself said he'll do it. Please allow it. Elder Wang nodded and replied, All right. It'll be done according to your request then. Thank you, Elder Wang. Duanmu Jin could barely contain his delight. He turned to Duanmu Tao and stated, Listen carefully now, Duanmu Tao. Lu Ming's the apprentice champion nominee. He's highly talented, so you've gotta just try your best later, understand? Got it. Don't worry, Elder Jin. A sinister smile hung on Duanmu Tao's face as he turned to Lu Ming. You still have time to just surrender now, Lu Ming. Otherwise, when the match starts, watch out, or you're gonna get hurt later. Don't blame me for not giving you a heads up. Duanmu Jin retreated for a good 10 meters and told Duanmu Tao, Don't hold back. The mystical sword sex apprentice champion should be capable and know his stuff well. He shouldn't be a piece of trash that only relies on luck. Your time is up. With a menacing smile on his face, Duanmu Tao moved unexpectedly. He unsheathed his sword and hacked it towards Lu Ming. Swoosh! Swoosh! In a flick, 9 beams of sword light that resembled plum blossoms bloomed from the body of his sword, engulfing Lu Ming completely. This is the Heavenly Plum Blossom Sword Technique, a superior yellow-level martial arts technique. After years of painstaking training and cultivation, Duanmu Tao's finally reached the 4th stage. The Azure Dragon Hall Guidance Elder commented with a sparkle in his eyes. Not bad. Even though Duanmu Tao's cultivation is merely average, he has pretty good perception towards martial arts technique. He's considerably talented to be able to cultivate a superior yellow-level martial arts technique to the stage he's at in just a few years. What a clever plan it is for Duanmu Jin to send Duanmu Tao out to fight Lu Ming. I'm afraid no one in this batch of new apprentices is a match for Duanmu Tao, the Onyx Tortoise Hall Guidance Elder added. Wretch! Xie Kuang clamped his fists tightly as worry shone in his eyes. Heh. Duanmu Jin smirked. At the same time, a similar smirk was seen hanging on Lu Ming's face as well. He held his ground. Clang! A sword light as fast as lightning burst forth. It all happened too fast. In an instant, the lightning-like sword light reached its target first even though it was released later. As the cold sword tip neared Duanmu Tao's face, a feeling of dread crept up from deep within his heart. Retreat! Without hesitation, Duanmu Tao retreated in a frenzy. Whatever patterned sword light he had going disappeared immediately without a trace. The smile froze on Duanmu Jin's face. What a swift sword! This is also a superior yellow-level sword technique. The Azure Dragon Hall Guidance Elder blurted out as his expression changed. That's right. This is the lustrous sword technique, a superior yellow-level sword technique. Lu Ming's at least at the 4th or 5th stage, I reckon, the Onyx Tortoise Hall Guidance Elder said as an odd gleam flitted through his eyes. 1. Xie Kuang was ecstatic. He did not expect Lu Ming to have such amazing martial arts attainment since he was just a new apprentice. Is this the martial arts technique you've trained painstakingly for a few years, Duanmu Tao? Is this all you've got? What a disgrace. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Damn it. Here's one more move. Duanmu Tao roared. His figure dazzled into several phantom images that attacked Lu Ming simultaneously, while a tempest of sword qi exploded from his body of his sword. Duan Mutao continuously slashed about 7 or 8 sword qis out, all of it aimed at Lu Ming. So what if your sword's swift? He would suppress Lu Ming with formidable essential qi. I'm done playing games with you, Lu Ming muttered. His long sword then slashed abruptly. Zing! A beam of sword qi swept across the area. It was a lot sharper than Duan Mutao's sword qi. After Lu Ming broke through to the 3rd grade master realm, the mass of his essential qi was already above Duan Mutao's. Duan Mutao's sword qi was severed in several puffs. Immediately after that, Lu Ming threw a punch out with his left hand. The Flame Dragon Fist. The blow landed right on Duan Mutao's dantian. Duan Mutao cried out in pain as his body flew backward from impact and landed heavily on the ground. His face paled as he vomited copious amounts of blood. Silence. Pin-drop silence swept across the entire area. 2 moves. All Lu Ming took to defeat Duan Mutao were 2 moves. It was a complete victory. Was this even a new apprentice's fighting ability? My Qi Cyclone, my cultivation. Lu Ming, did you just destroy my cultivation? Duan Mutao let out a shrill cry. The punch that Lu Ming delivered was so powerful that it completely destroyed the Qi Cyclone in Duan Mutao's dantian. Boom! Lu Ming. The cold, murderous intent that exploded from Duan Mujin was directed straight at Lu Ming. In a stride, Xie Kuang stepped in and blocked Duan Mujin in his path. Piss off, Xie Kuang. I'll destroy that little bastard. How could he land such a heavy blow in a friendly match? He has such a bad character and should be killed. Duan Mujin yelled. Duan Mutao's words were, when the match starts, watch out, or you're gonna get hurt later. I thought I did pretty well by restraining myself and sparing his life, but rather than thanking me, you accuse me of having a bad character. Instead of me, I think the person with a bad character is you. Lu Ming said in a loud voice. Go to hell, little bastard. Duan Mujin had enough. His face was a bright red as he failed to stifle his rage. That's enough. The Silavira-robed elder waved and a gust of energy poured out, forcing Xie Kuang and Duan Mujin to stagger backward. You've got to give Duan Mutao justice, please, Elder Wang. Duan Mujin shrieked. Elder Wang frowned. Enough, Duan Mujin. Nothing is guaranteed when a duel happens. Injuries are inevitable. Stop making a big fuss. To ensure fairness, the Silavira-robed elders had been sent directly by the sect leader to oversee the test. They did not belong to any hall, so they would not take sides. Elder Wang was joyful when he witnessed Lu Ming's capabilities and potential. After all, it meant that there was another genius in the mystical sword sect. He was also annoyed at Duan Mujin for trying to kill Lu Ming for his personal agenda. The match has proven Lu Ming's capabilities, and since most people are out from the Midnight Hills, I declare that first place belongs to Lu Ming. Elder Wang wasted no time as he announced. Damn it! Duan Mujin was boiling with rage. He knew he could not make Lu Ming pay that day. I'll see how cocky you can continue to be, Lu Ming. People who go against the Duanmu family never end up in a good place. He cursed in his heart. Not very far away, Xiahong, Huang Yu, and the rest looked at Lu Ming perplexed. Lu Ming's capabilities were beyond their expectation. They were so sure that Duan Muju had died by his hand. They were secretly glad that they did not go after Lu Ming in the Midnight Hills, or else, they would have been dead. 30 spiritual crystals. Pay up, Duan Mujin. Xie Kuang snickered coldly as he marched towards Duan Mujin. Clack, clack, clack. Duan Mujin gritted his teeth so tightly that they rubbed against each other noisily. He could not weasel out, not with everyone watching, so he painfully passed 30 spiritual crystals to Xie Kuang. Xie Kuang laughed in satisfaction. The time was up for Elder Wang to announce the placings. Huang Yu is in second place and Xie Hong in third. The names and placings were announced individually. With 131 points, Feng Wu was placed in 22nd place. Once the announcement was done, Elder Wang continued with a wave. Now this marks the end of the new apprentice test. Once you get back to the sect, those with rewards can claim them when you get your identity J pieces done. You are dismissed. Chapter 50. Chapter 50. Awarding Rewards. In the Vermilion Bird Hall, all newly accepted apprentices gathered on the training field. Other than Xiequang, the guidance elder, there were a few other Vermilion Bird Hall elders and a Silavira-robed elder on stage. Oh! Huge smiles were etched on each elder's face. We won't award you with your identity jade pieces. Your personal information and your sect contribution points will be in your identity jade pieces. You can use the jade pieces for your transactions should you need to use your sect contribution points. 1. There was a jade piece in the Silavira-robed elder's hand. He continued, even though our overall results weren't great, Lu Ming managed to emerge as the apprentice champion for the first time after 8 long years. He brought glory to the Vermilion Bird Hall, so this time around, we at the Vermilion Bird Hall will award him with another 2,000 sect contribution points in addition to his original rewards of 5,000 sect contribution points and a spirit condensing fruit. Come claim your prize, Lu Ming. As soon as the elder was done, all eyes were on Lu Ming. Some gazes were envious, some were jealous, some full of admiration. Amongst them, Yin Kai's eyes dripped with malice. Only he knew what he was up to as his eyes continuously looked around. Lu Ming walked up to accept his identity jade piece and another jade box. As his consciousness sank into the jade piece, a row of words appeared before him. Lu Ming, 15, citizen of the Fiery Wind City. Bronze apprentice of the Vermilion Bird Hall, the Mystical Sword Sect. Residence: Room 1, Courtyard 29. Sect contribution points: 7,000. The information was extremely comprehensive with their residence clearly marked out for them. Inside the jade box was the spirit condensing fruit. Thank you, Elder. Lu Ming cupped his fists as he saluted. Then he walked down from the stage. The other apprentices collected their identity jade pieces. Once everyone was done, they parted ways and Lu Ming made his way to the Vermilion Bird Peak. The majestic Vermilion Bird Peak stood tall beyond the clouds. Forests and jungles covered the peak. With all the beautiful flora and fauna found in these woods, it was like heaven on earth. Mid-peak, there was a space filled with countless exquisite courtyards. These were dorms for the Vermilion Bird Hall apprentices. The spiritual energy here's so rich and dense. It's at least a few times thicker than the general apprentices area. No wonder everyone was fighting to become a bronze apprentice. I heard that as Silavira apprentices, some elders and hall masters live closer to the tip of the mountain, and that the spiritual energy there's even thicker than what it's like now. Lu Ming pondered as he made his way to his residence. The courtyards were numbered on the door, so he found courtyard 29 very quickly. It had quite a huge yard with a patio for cultivating martial arts in the middle. There were also 3 rooms. The middle one was numbered 1 while the other rooms were rooms 2 and 3 respectively. Lu Ming made his way to room 1 where the sight of a simple bed and a table greeted him. It was an extremely modest setup. There was a booklet on the table explaining the basic guidelines and happenings of the mystical sword sect and the Blazing Sun Empire. After flipping through it, Lu Ming kept the booklet aside. He walked out of the door as he heard footsteps approaching. A beefy young man of about 15 to 16 years old walked in. He had big eyes and bushy eyebrows and he carried a sword wider than a palm on his back. He gawked at Lu Ming and was quickly overjoyed. Senior brother Lu Ming, you're assigned to Courtyard 29 too. Haha, that's great. We'll be housemates now. The beefy young man chuckled. Lu Ming smiled faintly and said, You're too kind, brother. How do I address you? My name's Peng Shi. I'm a hunter from Seafront City. The beefy youth introduced himself enthusiastically. From his brief introduction, Lu Ming understood that Peng Shi was the son of a hunter's family in Seafront City, and that he was supernaturally strong. Since he awakened his blood meridians when he was 14, his family sent him to the mystical sword sect to be tested and enrolled. Peng Shi was successfully accepted, and he had passed the test to become a bronze apprentice. Looking at this hunter's lad, Lu Ming thought that Peng Shi was more than what met the eye since it was not as easy for a normal hunter's lad to be enrolled and pass the new apprentice test in one go. I'm a little dumb, so please show me around, senior brother Lu Ming, Peng Shi said as he scratched the back of his head. Are you asking him to show you around? I think it's better if you mingle with me. A green-robed, handsome-looking youth walked in from the patio. This lanky young man was fair-skinned with long and narrow eyes. He had an air of untamed wildness that surrounded him. The green-robed youth walked in and scoffed at Lu Ming without warning. "Remember this, Lu Ming. My name's Huaqi. You being the apprentice champion doesn't mean anything here. Since we're both new to the mystical sword sect, I'll surpass you in a year." "Starry-eyed fool? What an odd name," Pang Shi replied in surprise, conveniently ignoring everything else Huaqi said. The green-robed youth stiffened. "What are you talking about, you big dumb buffoon? My name's Huaqi, not a starry-eyed fool." "It's still starry-eyed fool, isn't it, senior brother Lu Ming?" Puzzled, Pang Shi scratched the back of his head in confusion. Lu Ming could not help but laugh. "You're right, Pang Shi. I heard a starry-eyed fool too. You hillbillies. Just you wait and see. My name Huaqi will shake the entire mystical sword sect, and even the entire Blazing Sun Empire in no time." Confidence shone in Huaqi's eyes as he walked into room 2 with a huff, ignoring Lu Ming and Pang Shi. Lu Ming smiled and excused himself from Pang Shi to go back to his room as well. Since reaching the Master Realm, Lu Ming's cultivation had risen as he devoured essences constantly. However, that caused his foundation to be a little shaky and his essential qi was tainted and unrefined. He had to stop and spend time to set his base and cultivate his essential qi. A shaky foundation was a huge problem that would affect his cultivation progress in the future. It would hinder Lu Ming from breaking through to the next level, and his cultivation journey would cease. Even having a spirit-devouring blood meridian to devour more essence would have been in vain. Lu Ming exercised the true war dragon technique, and the qi cyclone in his dantian spun steadily, creating little streams of dragon-shaped essential qi, which flowed through his meridians, repeatedly refining the impurities in his essential qi. After 6 hours, Lu Ming opened his eyes. "My cultivation will be firmer and more consolidated in 10 days if this continues. Then I'll move on to the second stage of the true war dragon technique. My advantage in the Master Realm is decreasing. I can only obtain higher combat power if I reach the second stage in my true war dragon technique cultivation. Other than blood mist rocks, I've got 2 out of 3 essential ingredients required in the second stage true war dragon technique. I'll go to the contribution hall in 2 days and see if they have any blood mist rocks," Lu Ming reflected. He pondered upon what had happened in the test. Then, he came to a conclusion about what he lacked and determined the direction of his cultivation going forward. Chapter 51. Chapter 51. Ningfeng pays a visit. In the blink of an eye, 2 days passed. While Lu Ming was cultivating, a loud yell suddenly boomed from outside. "Lu Ming, get your butt out here." "Oh, Ningfeng." Lu Ming remembered the voice very well. It was that senior apprentice who had caused him trouble back when he had just joined the sect. "Ningfeng, you sent someone to kill me during the test. Before I could hunt you down, you've come here yourself." There was a cold glint in Lu Ming's eyes as he got up, opened the door and walked out. After exiting his room, he saw that Pang Shi and Huaqi had gone out as well. Evidently they were startled as well. "Senior brother Lu, what's going on?" Pang Shi wore a worried expression. "Everything's fine." Lu Ming grinned. "Lu Ming, you better hurry up and show yourself." Ningfeng's voice rose again, rumbling across a vast distance. Creak. Lu Ming opened the gates of the courtyard and walked out. Standing outside the courtyard were 7 or 8 youths. Ningfeng was heading the group with Yin Kai actually beside him. As for the others, they had overbearing auras as well. Clearly, they were senior apprentices of the Vermilion Bird Hall. "Lu Ming, you're finally out. I thought you were cowering like a tortoise in its shell." Ningfeng glared at Lu Ming icily as he spoke. In the depths of his gaze, there was a flash of deadly intent. Lu Ming had far surpassed his expectations. During the newbies test, along with the Duanmu family's cooperation, Ningfeng had sent a Master Realm expert to kill Lu Ming. Despite all that, he did not manage to kill him. To their outrage, Lu Ming had even become the apprentice champion. The moment Ningfeng heard about this, he had practically leaped up in shock. Lu Ming's talent exceeded his imagination. He must kill Lu Ming before the latter grew even stronger. "Cower like a tortoise? Ningfeng, why would I do that just because of someone like you?" Lu Ming said breezily as he stared at Ning Feng. Heh. Lu Ming, don't think that you can act so impudently just because you've achieved the hollow title as the apprentice champion. In my eyes, you're nothing. Furthermore, your apprentice champion position was merely seized through underhanded methods. Lu Ming, do you know that you've committed a great crime? You should be kneeling down in confession. Ning Feng bellowed. By this point, the whole area had been disturbed. People started popping out of their courtyards. It was not just the new apprentices. Most of them were senior apprentices. All of them observed the situation, discussing animatedly. Why is Ning Feng looking for Lu Ming? Is there bad blood between them? I don't know. Still, Ning Feng's father is the chief elder of the Vermilion Bird Hall. Thanks to his father's authority, he's always been arrogant and tyrannical, and he's used to pushing others around. To think that Lu Ming is the target this time. I heard that on the day Lu Ming joined the sect, he disrespected Ning Feng, causing Ning Feng to be publicly humiliated. No wonder. Ning Feng's energy was aggressive, but Lu Ming was not afraid in the slightest. Ning Feng, there's no need for malicious slander. What have I done wrong? What wrong? Let me ask you. During the test, junior brother Yin Kai obtained that 500-point medal piece initially. However, out of your own selfish desires, you colluded with the apprentices of other halls to intercept him, causing him to lose the 500-point medal piece. The position of apprentice champion originally belonged to junior brother Yin Kai. Not only that, in order to snatch the 500-point medal piece, you brutally murdered the genius apprentice of my Vermilion Bird Hall, Yuan Lang. Such behavior makes one's blood boil. You should die 10,000 deaths for your sins. Now, shouldn't you be kneeling down to accept your punishment? Ning Feng roared furiously with a domineering auras. Not far away, some of the senior apprentices were conversing. Ning Feng really knows how to pin the blame on someone. Isn't that so? In the mystical sword sect there were rules, and one of them included the fact that those from the same sect must not kill one another. However, at certain times and in certain places, there were exceptions such as in a life-or-death fight or during the newbies test. The newbies test was a long tradition in the mystical sword sect. In truth, everyone was well aware that the test would verify one's full capabilities. During the test, any method was fair game, including killing. Nonetheless, this was an unspoken rule that must not be proclaimed aloud. Otherwise, it was indeed a crime to kill someone from the same sect. However, which year's apprentice champion did not kill anyone during the test? It was impossible. This was clearly a trumped-up charge. Ning Feng, did you come here to say this? With this idiotic excuse? I don't have time to entertain your nonsense. With that, Lu Ming turned around to go in. He could not be bothered with Ning Feng's bullshit. Damn you! Lu Ming's attitude set Ning Feng's teeth on edge before he howled. Brazen Lu Ming, do you even respect the sect's rules? Kneel down at once. Swoosh! Ning Feng's palm slammed toward Lu Ming. The force from his palm created a whistle in the air. If this strike hit its target, Lu Ming would be gravely injured, if not killed. Senior brother Lu Ming, be careful. Peng Shi warned. Boom! At the crucial point, Lu Ming promptly twisted around and struck with the flame dragon fist. Bam! Lu Ming's fist and Ning Feng's palm collided. There was a deafening rumble. Thud thud thud. Lu Ming took 5 steps back. He shuddered and coughed up a mouthful of blood. You're the so-called apprentice champion. You're more like a piece of trash. Today, I'll cripple you, then take my time interrogating you. Ning Feng's expression was cruel as he spoke disdainfully. Following that, he stepped out and slammed his palm down on Lu Ming. Trying to cripple me? I'll make you pay a painful price too. Lu Ming gripped his sword hilt as his eyes blazed viciously. He decided to explode his blood meridian. Even if he had to suffer Ning Feng's palm strike, he would make him pay. Stop right there. However, just then, a delicate voice rang out as a figure dashed over like lightning. A burst of powerful palm force shot toward Ning Feng. The palm force was fierce and intense and was no weaker than Ning Feng's. Ning Feng had no choice but to turn back and counter the blow. Bam! 2 palms clashed, and Ning Feng's figure trembled slightly. Yuan Hui, it's you. Why did you stop me? When Ningfeng saw who it was, his expression shifted. Lu Ming was flabbergasted as well. The one who had attacked was a young lady who was around 18 years old and was extremely pretty. Still, Lu Ming did not know her. Why would she step in to help him? However, he understood in the next instant. Another figure came flying over. It was Feng Wu. Lu Ming, are you alright? Don't worry. Senior sister Yuan is with big sis Mulan. She won't let Ningfeng do as he pleases. Feng Wu looked at Lu Ming with a glimmer of concern in her eyes. I'm fine. Lu Ming beamed. Yuan Hui said, Ningfeng, I might as well tell you that Lu Ming got in through a recommendation from Elder Mulan. Surely now you know why I stopped you. What? Elder Mulan? When Ningfeng heard Mulan's name, he turned solemn all of a sudden. On the side, Yin Kai's face had sunk as well. How could Lu Ming be so lucky? Damn it. Yin Kai clenched his jaw. Initially, he had rejoiced inwardly when he saw Lu Ming being injured by Ningfeng. However, Yuan Hui had popped up unexpectedly. Now that you know this, you'd better leave at once. Yuan Hui glared at Ningfeng. Ningfeng's eyes gleamed, then flared up with resentment. Yuan Hui, so what if Lu Ming was recommended by Elder Mulan? He killed someone from the same sect. Such a despicable act must be severely punished. Otherwise, everyone will disregard the rules in the future. Won't that cause utter chaos? Chapter 52. Chapter 52. A fight after a month. Ningfeng, do you have to come up with such crude excuses just to target me? Why don't we go to the magistrate elder and determine whether I'm guilty? Lu Ming cast a scornful glance at Ningfeng. Why do we have to go to the magistrate elder for such a small matter? Ningfeng laughed coldly. Oh. At this point, Pang Shi came forward, scratching his head with a guileless expression. Senior brother Ning, this is where you're wrong. I'm a new apprentice who has just participated in the test as well. During the test, killing each other is very common. I saw a senior brother being murdered by someone from the Duanmu family. Senior brother Ning, why didn't you lead your crew to capture that apprentice from the Duanmu family? That's right, Ningfeng. If you're so devoted to being righteous, go and seize that guy from the Duanmu family. All you can do is whine and complain here. Aren't you embarrassed? Feng Wu stood beside Lu Ming and scoffed with her pretty face. Ningfeng's face darkened all at once. He had just been asked to seize an apprentice from the Duanmu family. How could he possibly do that? Instantly, he shot an unfriendly look at Pang Shi and berated. And who are you again? How dare you speak in this manner to me? Fuck off. After that, he looked towards Yuan Hui and shouted, Yuan Hui, step aside at once. Ningfeng, defeat me if you can. Otherwise, you can forget about harming a single hair on Lu Ming's head. Yuan Hui was unyielding. Seeing that Yuan Hui was being so steadfast, Ningfeng's gaze flitted around uncertainly before landing on Lu Ming once more. Lu Ming, what kind of apprentice champion are you? Is hiding behind women all you can do? Ningfeng, you've been enrolled for 4 or 5 years, haven't you? And you have the nerve to say that. How about this? You and Lu Ming shall fight after a year. How does that sound? Yuan Hui suggested. Senior sister Yuan, why wait for a year? A month is enough. Lu Ming stepped out and faced Ningfeng directly. Ningfeng, I hereby challenge you. After 1 month, we shall meet on the Vermilion Bird stage for a battle to the death. Are you brave enough? His clear voice carried over a long distance, arousing a loud clamor. What? Is Lu Ming challenging Ningfeng? And the fight will be in a month. Does he have a death wish? Ningfeng has already reached the top of the 6th grade master realm. Apparently, he's only a step away from the 7th grade master realm. Moreover, he's been working hard to hone a superior yellow-level martial arts technique for nearly 5 years. He's already reached the 5th stage, which is perfect divine-like usage. Yet, Lu Ming dares to challenge him within a month? That's right. Lu Ming's cultivation is only at 4th grade master realm at most. It's impossible for him to defeat Ningfeng in a month. He's too arrogant. I think that after he became the apprentice champion, he's acquired this blind confidence. He doesn't know his own strength. Those who were commenting were mostly senior apprentices who all felt that Lu Ming was being too arrogant. Ning Feng's eyes flashed with a gleeful light. Lu Ming, are you challenging me in a month's time? That's right. Do you have the guts? Lu Ming said. Ha ha ha, what's there to be afraid of? I accept your challenge. Ning Feng guffawed. Based on Lu Ming's talent, surpassing Ning Feng in a year might not be a problem, but doing so a month from now was impossible. Lu Ming was asking for it. Since Yuan Hui stopped Ning Feng today, he might as well accept the challenge. He would slay Lu Ming in front of everyone in a month. At the thought of killing an apprentice champion, he was endlessly invigorated. Lu Ming, I hope that in a month you won't be cowering like a tortoise in its shell, Ning Feng taunted. I was just about to say that to you, Lu Ming retorted. Big talk doesn't mean anything. Let's go. Ning Feng waved his hand and swaggered off with the other senior apprentices. After Ning Feng and the rest had left, Feng Wu spoke rather anxiously. Lu Ming, you're too rash. How can you challenge Ning Feng and within 1 month at that? That's right. You could have promised to fight him in a year or even 6 months. With me around, Ning Feng can't do anything against you. Yuan Hui frowned as she chimed in. She felt that Lu Ming was too cocky and she did not quite like this sort of pride. One would suffer sooner or later. Lu Ming smiled. It's fine. Still, I must thank you for your help today, Senior Sister Yan. There's no need for that. I did so in consideration of Elder Mulan. I hope that you'll do well for yourself. After saying that, Yuan Hui turned to leave. Lu Ming, train diligently during this time. If you need help with anything, feel free to look for me, Feng Wu said. Lu Ming nodded. For sure. I'll be leaving then. She shot him a look then went off as well. Senior brother Lu Ming, I believe that you'll certainly win. Pang Shi came over and assured her. How could it be that easy to beat Ning Feng? Let me tell you. Ning Feng's cultivation has apparently reached the top of the 6th grade master realm. Plus, his father is a chief elder of the Vermilion Bird Hall, Hua Qi said coldly from the side. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Although Hua Qi appeared aloof, he was actually concerned. Hence he was warning Lu Ming. I believe in senior brother Lu Ming, the apprentice champion. Pang Shi cracked a wide grin. Ha, how naive. Hua Qi shook his head and returned to the courtyard. The top of the 6th grade master realm, is that it? Lu Ming muttered with a determined look. After exchanging a few words with Pang Shi, he went down from Vermilion Bird Peak and headed towards the Mystical Sword Sect's Contribution Hall. The Mystical Sword Sect's Contribution Hall was near the center of the 4 halls, and was the busiest place in the Mystical Sword Sect. As the center of the 4 halls, Qilin Hall was in this area, along with the Contribution Hall, the Mission Hall, and so on. Lu Ming decided to go to the Contribution Hall and see if there were any blood mist rocks he could exchange. After half an hour, he arrived at the Contribution Hall, which spanned dozens of hectares. It was very spacious with throngs of crowds that livened up the place. Small rooms were built in the 4 corners of the hall. Lu Ming noticed that a person would come out before someone else could go in. Each time someone entered, a sign saying occupied would be hung on the door of the small room. This was to safeguard the privacy of the apprentices in the halls. After all, some apprentices might be exchanging precious items. If those with ill intentions learned of this, it might be detrimental to those apprentices. Lu Ming looked around and noticed a room from which someone was coming out. He then hurriedly entered that room. The space inside was not very large. There was a table along with some chairs. At one side was the counter, by which sat an old man with a silvery hair. When the old man saw Lu Ming, he beamed and asked, "Young one, are you exchanging items for contribution points? Or contribution points for items?" "Senior, I want to ask if there are blood mist rocks here that I can exchange for?" Lu Ming asked and stared at the old man expectantly. "Blood mist rocks? You want to exchange items for blood mist rocks?" The old man raised an eyebrow and asked in astonishment. Were they unavailable? Lu Ming's heart leaped as he asked, "Senior, are there no blood mist rocks here?" "There are, of course, but the price of blood mist rocks isn't low. 1 caddy of blood mist rocks costs 3,000 sect contribution points," the old man said. Despite being mentally prepared, This price still made Lu Ming gasp in shock. What? 3,000 sect contribution points? Chapter 53. Chapter 53. Spending money like water. 3,000 sect contribution points were equivalent to 300,000 taels of Esilavir. Furthermore, Lu Ming needed 1.5 caddies of blood mist rock, which meant that he needed 4,500 contribution points. Oh, he only had 7,000 contribution points. In one go, 2/3 would be gone. Young buddy, are you still going to make the exchange? The old man asked with a smile. I'll do it, of course. I'll exchange for it. Lu Ming said through gritted teeth. No matter how many contribution points it required, he would make the exchange. Regardless of how many contribution points he had, their true value would only manifest if he converted them into power. If he simply hoarded them, they were just a bunch of numbers. The old man was slightly taken aback. He noticed that Lu Ming was not very old, so he thought he could not afford it. He was surprised to think that Lu Ming could actually hand over so many contribution points. Lu Ming took out his identity jade piece and passed it to the old man. Senior, here's my identity jade piece. The old man took Lu Ming's identity jade piece and placed it on a disc-like metal platform. The metal platform flickered brightly. Then a row of words appeared. This was Lu Ming's personal information. When the old man read his personal information, he was slightly startled before breaking out into a grin. So you're this year's apprentice champion, Lu Ming. Haha, honored to meet you. You're too kind, senior. Apprentice champion is merely an empty title. Lu Ming shook his head. The old man nodded. Despite obtaining the apprentice champion position, Lu Ming was still modest. His impression of Lu Ming improved tremendously. Following that, he swiped a few times across the metal platform. Lu Ming noticed that the words were changing. His 7,000 contribution points became 2,500 in an instant. After the contribution points were deducted, the old man returned the identity jade piece to Lu Ming. Following that, he turned and disappeared into a door behind him. After a while, he returned with a metal box in his hand. The blood mist rock is inside. There's precisely 1.5 caddies. Have a look, the old man said with a smile. Lu Ming took it and opened the metal box in anticipation. A fist-sized blood-red rock was inside, cut into a neat square. The strange thing was that above the rock, there was a floating layer of pale red mist. The blood mist rock. I finally gathered the 3 most important treasures. I can cultivate the true war dragon technique to the 2nd stage now. Lu Ming was filled with delight. After keeping the blood mist rock away, he added, Senior, I need a few other things. Following that, Lu Ming listed out the other materials needed to cultivate the 2nd stage of the true war dragon technique. These other materials were much cheaper. In total, they cost only 200 contribution points. After some thought, Lu Ming asked, Senior, do you have demonic beast blood essence? Demonic beast blood essence? That's a material needed by alchemists in refining pills and equipment. Are you actually an alchemist? The old man asked, stunned. Lu Ming shook his head. No, I have other uses for it. The old man nodded and did not question further. He merely said, what level of demonic beast blood essence do you need? 4th and 5th grade 2nd level, Lu Ming replied. The old man said, a portion of 4th grade 2nd level demonic beast blood essence costs 50 contribution points, while a portion of 5th grade 2nd level demonic beast blood essence costs 100 contribution points, the old man responded. It's that expensive? Lu Ming gasped in shock once again. 4th grade 2nd level demonic beast blood essence costs 50 contribution points per portion, which was equivalent to 5,000 taels of Esilavir. One should know that a single superior 1st level spiritual weapon was less than 5,000 taels of Esilavir. This was truly outrageously overpriced. The old man smiled and explained, young buddy, it's actually not that expensive. You should know that once a demonic beast dies, the vitality of its blood essence will dissipate after an hour and lose its effect. That's right. Lu Ming nodded. He was well aware of this. When his spirit-devouring worm blood meridian consumed the blood essence of demonic beasts or humans, it must be done within an hour of their death. Otherwise, the blood qi would evaporate and it would have no effect. Therefore, in order to preserve the demonic beast's blood essence, a spirit sealing crystal must be used. This crystal is a single-use item. Moreover, the higher the level of the demonic beast's blood essence, the higher the quality of the spirit sealing crystal must be. Thus, the price of the demonic beast's blood essence is so expensive. The old man continued his explanation. Lu Ming nodded. He knew that this was the reason. Senior, give me 10 portions each of 4th and 5th grade 2nd level demonic beast blood essence, Lu Ming said with a clenched jaw. In order to rapidly improve his cultivation in 1 month, he could only devour demonic beast blood essence. As for going out into the wild to hunt down demonic beasts, it was too inefficient. Previously, in their test venue, other than the mutated black-scaled monitor lizard, the highest level of the demonic beasts was only at 4th grade 2nd level. To hunt demonic beasts above 4th grade 2nd level, he would have to head into further, more dangerous territory. Even putting aside the level of risk, looking for a suitable demonic beast might take a long time and was not worth it at all. Purchasing demonic beast blood essence directly was the most convenient method. All right, I'll prepare your demonic beast blood essence, the old man said. After a moment, he came back with the demonic beast blood essence, and 1,500 contribution points were deducted from Lu Ming's account. All at once, he was left only with 700 contribution points. His rate of spending was terribly fast, and Lu Ming felt a pang in his heart. Still, being able to convert all this into more strength was worth it. Only by increasing his capability could he obtain more treasures and contribution points. After putting the demonic beast blood essence and the blood mist rock away, Lu Ming left the contribution hall and returned to his residence. Upon his return, he did not immediately tackle the second stage of the True War Dragon technique because his cultivation was not fully fortified. His essential qi was not pure enough. Under such circumstances, it was difficult to cultivate the second stage of the True War Dragon technique successfully. If he cultivated it recklessly, he might waste the precious materials that he had obtained through immense effort. Therefore, if he cultivated it, he must ensure success within a single attempt. Lu Ming continued to hone his True War Dragon technique diligently. After 8 days, Lu Ming's cultivation was fully stable at last. Even so, he spent 2 more days assimilating the essential qi in his body until it was incomparably refined. Only then was he prepared to begin tackling the second stage of the True War Dragon technique. Now I must prepare the materials. Lu Ming took out the spirit-condensing fruit, the blood of the lightning leopard, the blood mist rock, and other materials. He measured them out and mixed these according to the steps listed out in the True War Dragon technique. Although he was not an alchemist, this was not a process of refining pills. It was a simple mixture that he could achieve easily. After these materials were mixed together, they formed a blood-red liquid that gave off a wisp of fragrance. Begin. After the materials were prepared, Lu Ming sat cross-legged on his head, then swallowed the resulting blood-red liquid all in one gulp. After swallowing it, this blood-red liquid seemed to erupt like a volcano, flaring up with waves of scorching energy that surged towards his meridian. Once it entered his meridian, it combined with his essential qi, and finally entered the qi cyclone in his dantian. Buzz buzz. This burst of energy was crackling with intense lightning, as it started to refine Lu Ming's essential qi. Lu Ming mobilized the True War Dragon technique at full force, working with this energy to charge towards the second stage of the True War Dragon technique.